Through the prayers of Holy Fathers of Jesus Christ, our God of mercy, on us and save us. Amen. Okay, so you may notice it's a different time. There's multiple reasons for that. And so I will get to them as we progress. Obviously, the title is real. That is, I don't make up titles. Yesterday, I was on some Catholic Christian channel that was the algorithm kind of sent me to it. So I saw it. I said, okay, and I'm gonna be playing that and commenting on it because I was actually shocked by what happened. And I was like, okay, I could cut this and make this a new video, but then I just figured I'd just play it from the stream. That was weird. It was weird. On this channel, I think the term heretic, heretical, heterodox, these are all basically expressions of stuff that we talk about regularly. Good afternoon to everyone, and God bless you. We're coming off of stuff that happened Sunday as well. Still dealing with the fallout of that, and angry atheists writing me through every conceivable method. And then, of course, I mentioned my finger. This is actually looking pretty good compared to what it looked like. I believe it was Monday night. I pet the dog the wrong way, and the dog went psycho and kind of bit through my finger. And so, thank God, 2 days later, it still doesn't feel good. I can barely use it. It's a pain to type, and that's part of the reason why I've been pretty quiet on socials and stuff, because I can't type, and my phone keyboard is a pain, and I'm like, no, I'm not going to use that. It became a point where it got to a point where I was just basically like, okay, I'm just going to say what's necessary, or what I feel is necessary, rather than just blabber on like I usually do. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm keeping it a live Q&A because, well, that's kind of what we're used to. So if anyone wants to pop on, of course they can call in live with the link at the top of the chat. And so let's get started. Let me go find that, and then I will put that on. It was kind of dumbfounding. It was a stream. I'll just show you. Hold on. Let me pull it up. Okay, so the algorithm found me this thing, the YouTube algorithm, as I was watching, and I shall put this up. And it was a stream titled, "This Catholic Influencer is a Heretic. Needs to be called out." Now, you would think that there'd be some, you'll see it redefines irony, guys. I managed to go in, I made a comment is what actually happened. And in making a comment, like I got like the people got mad. They got really, really mad. Trying to find it. Let me see. Maybe it's earlier. Hold on. Looking for it. Oh, okay, there I am. Okay, so these guys are just
write me a script. I have an editor. I will give you half the royalties, man. If that's what if you're really that bored. But anyways, who is the heretic? That would be Adrian Sips with Sarah, but not really. They did a fun video where they played trivia, and whoever lost was deemed a heretic. So
I had already written my comment in response to this, which you'll see, and well, you'll see what happens.
Bro, really said he
boy, what is this? True Orthodox News and Apologetics, NFTU. Whoa, you want to come up here and back that up, or what? Let's go.
So I came up. Okay.
A true Orthodox, the one who like say that like Saint Augustine was like the first Western heretic, and like reject the mainstream Eastern Orthodox churches.
Well, I mean, from my perspective and my experience, every Eastern Orthodox that I've, dialogued with, think St. Augustine, was the first, and then following him in the West, they're all heretics because they're just Latin.
Well, I mean,
So this is a common Roman Catholic misconception that Orthodox believe that effectively the church in the West ended in the 4th century, which we don't. This over the whole ridiculous anti-Augustinianism of Romanitas that we see among a lot of the bros. Yeah.
there are some who are like more pious than others that they'll, some of the, I mean, I think it'd be pretty insane to argue that St. Augustine like didn't teach the filioque at all, and that he was like perfectly in line with modern, more like.
Yeah, you get an eclectic range. Oh, wow. Okay, we have, apparently this is either a deacon or a priest. Hello, greetings. Hello?
Hello.
Father Joseph?
I forgot to turn on my mic.
Unmute? Unmute? No? Sign language? Can't see if you're doing sign language.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, crystal clear. How we doing?
God bless you. How's it going? Christ is risen. Okay. Yeah. So you had. Did you want me to explain my statement, or did you have questions for me? Whatever you feel like.
Oh, I'm sorry, but your voice sounds so familiar. Where would I have heard you from?
Maybe a live stream on Sunday. I did debate. What's his name? William Albrecht like 3 times over the years. But it might have been just my weekly thing. Who knows? Gets spread around sometimes.
Okay.
I did recently talk with Elijah Yassi. Yeah, that's about it.
When you say you talked with them, I mean.
Yeah, no, we had a stream together.
Oh, really?
Like
what's your channel? Sorry, is your channel the?
My channel's NFTU.
Oh, okay. I'll subscribe. Yeah. Okay. Cool, man.
Cool.
Are you an ecumenical Eastern Orthodox?
Absolutely not. I think they're going to hell. Every single one of them.
Okay, I'm laughing, but I don't know if I should be laughing.
We'll figure it out over time. Here it's friend zone. Maybe I feel
I don't know. I feel like I'm in the Twilight Zone all of a sudden. Are you related to Jade? Are you related to Jade Dyer?
Jade Dyer blocked me for something like 7 years. I managed to get on his Discord after debating World Orthodox in 2023, and he had me off in 20 minutes.
That didn't answer my question.
You're asking if I'm related to him. I believe the term "he hates me and wants nothing to do with me" covered it. But if not, I guess in a broader sense, we're both YouTubers. We do not. I started seriously wondering if he thought I was his cousin or something. Agree on how we defend orthodoxy, but I would assume we can say we do. I don't speak to him. He doesn't speak to me. How deep do you want me to get with this?
No, I'm sorry. You want to talk? What do you want to talk? Ecclesiology, essence, energy? What?
No, I mean, well, you asked me to come on, or somebody in the thing did. So I was like, okay, sure. Now, if you want to, if you just wanted me to explain what I meant, I just meant that obviously, we believe papists are in heresy, so that would apply to anyone you were referring to.
Okay, but what's your definition of a heresy or heretic?
Somebody who believes in a false teaching. Okay, welcome, Karan. How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Father.
Hi, God bless you. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm okay. What's your question?
I would like to ask, could you, if you know, I searched up a monastery and I couldn't they wouldn't pick up the call, but I wanted to ask if you could find out in some way if they're like true Orthodox or not.
What's the name of the monastery?
Just one sec. I got to pull it up real quick.
Sure.
All right, just give me 1 second.
No problem.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah.
It's Saint Cosmos.
Saint Cosmos.
Oh, sorry for interrupting. I saw you on stream and I couldn't miss this chance.
No, it's fine. Saint Cosmos, and what's the rest of it?
Aatlos.
Aetolios.
Yeah, Aetolios.
Greek Orthodox Monastery in Bolton.
That's the one.
That is. Now that one I believe that's Greek Archdiocese. Yeah. Okay. Hold on.
Is that like a place?
What?
Okay.
Yeah, it just started.
Is that like a?
That just started blasting
Okay.
music at me. That
Oh, okay.
website. Let me take a look. I'm pretty sure that is Greek Archdiocese. I think there are Greek monasteries. Where is that? This is Bolton, Ontario. How far is that from, say, like Toronto?
That is about, like, I'd say an hour.
Let me see what I can find. I'm going to try the Hotco website, and then I'm going to try the Macarian Synod website. Because there's definitely options. Okay, so let's go to Metropolis of Toronto, Ontario. I mean, there's a few churches to go to, but not a monastery proper. Not on this.
Not a legit one.
Well, the one that you're looking at is Greek Archdiocese. They're New Calendarus.
Okay, I had a feeling.
Yeah.
It was too good to be true.
Yeah, I would probably reach out to either of the True Orthodox metropolises of Toronto, either Saint Nectarius Cathedral. That one's in Toronto itself.
Just give me 1 second. Saint Nick. What would the church name be called?
Well, if you go to hotca.org.
Okay, wait. Let me just write this down real quick. Just give me 1 second.
Uh-huh. Then the other one, give me a moment.
Okay, yeah, could you say it?
hotca.org is one, and then there's the other one, which is the Macarian Synod, which I am trying to find the website for. Hold on. Oh, this is bad. My list of stuff. Benedicite. Yeah, Romagata says go to see Bishop Moses, Saint Nectarios. Yeah, we can. I think we can leave that today. Benedicite, Father Boniface. Yeah. So that would be my recommendation for. I mean, there is our monastery, but in as well that's a small monastery. I don't. Are you looking for a parish? Because there's a lot of True Orthodox parishes in your area. Or are you looking to become a monastic?
No, no. I just wanted to be joined into the church.
God bless you.
For now.
Yeah, no problem.
I'd take the Eucharist and baptize and stuff into the church.
Yeah, there's a lot of churches that can do that near you.
But which ones? Just to repeat them one more time.
All right, give me just a moment. Hold on.
You said Saint Nicotarius or
Saint Nectarius Cathedral is there. Let me see here. Also, if you go to GOC Toronto, oh, wait a second. Hold on. Give me a second. I might be wrong here. You know what? Well, no, I'm not wrong. St. Cosmas Aetolius, there is a St. Cosmas Aetolius Greek Orthodox Church, which is under Metropolitan Makarios. But it's not a monastery, it's a church.
I just thought, like, I don't know the difference between like, I thought you can just go there and get baptized or whatever.
All right, let me explain. A monastery is where monks live. While they do baptisms and they do services, etc., general that's where monastics live. They're celibate. They live the angelic life. It's the best place to go if you can, but it's not a regular parish. A regular parish with people and stuff, there's a lot of them in your area. There is a St. Cosmas Aetolius Greek Orthodox Church, which
Okay.
is under the Macarian Synod and Metropolitan Macarius of Toronto. There, so you have Metropolitan Moses of Toronto and Metropolitan Macarius of Toronto. And they have a variety of churches in the Ontario area. So I would suggest, just typing in GOC Toronto, True Orthodox Toronto, True Orthodox Ontario, Genuine Orthodox Ontario. You'll find a lot of churches.
Is it because when I search it up, it doesn't show up in any of the recommendations. I searched up the Saint Cosmos,
Right.
the church. It only comes up the monastery. It doesn't even show up any of the other.
Yeah, you have to always go past the recommendations. Recommendations are usually done by AI, so they can be, unfortunately, they can be skewed. But do you use Facebook?
I don't use Facebook.
Okay, because they do have a pretty big page on Facebook.
Okay, I'll try to check this because I did get and you said the name of the bishop, right?
Right,
Or
yeah.
Saint Nicotarius, or so. I'll just try to figure it out. Thank you for the help.
No problem. Glad to help. All right.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Let me get back to this video. I will make an obligatory message, however, as usual. I always say, NFT needs your help. I'm trying something different. Here's the reality I'm in. I'm targeting $201 for the water and the phone bill and to help someone out. Whatever you can do to help, we really do appreciate it. Even if it's a super chat, that just means it gives me a little to work with on the credit card. So that's fine too. But let's get back to this so you can see just why I titled this video the way I did.
So you would say that we're heretics because
on false dogmatic teachings.
I'm sorry, what?
On false dogmatic teachings, yeah. Like, for example, like you brought up the Augustine in the 4th century, the Filioque. I would disagree with the provenance of a lot of those supposedly pro-Filioque passages. Many of them have been interpolated. And I don't, when you look at the actual text of Toledo 589, you don't find what you think you're going to find. Really, I would say the origin of the Filioque is really 9th to 11th century. So I would say it's much closer to the time of the Great Schism, which happens at the exact same time as the Gregorian Reform, which basically forms the basis for modern Roman Catholicism today.
Okay, so when the Council of Constantinople was held in 381, were they in communion with Rome?
The council, no. Okay. If I remember, wasn't that the council that Rome they had to ratify later? Right.
When was it ratified?
Well, no, Rome had to ratify. The rest of the church accepted it at 381. Whether Rome accepted it or not is a secondary question.
Well, then how can it be ecumenical if Rome didn't ratify it?
You are presupposing an ecumenical council requires Rome's permission.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying an ecumenical means universal. Right. So it has to include Rome to be universal. Otherwise, it's a local council, which it was, and it didn't become ecumenical or universal until Chalcedon.
No, it became ecumenical because of the emperor's sanction, because he was over the ecumenate or the empire. So it wouldn't necessarily require all the patriarchates to ratify it at once, including Rome. The reasoning you have for ecumenical, again, is an assumption that it requires the Pope's sanction.
Okay. What is an ecumenical council?
It's the council of the entire church in the Christian world.
Entire church. That's my point. So if you don't have the See of Rome, how is it ecumenical?
Well, I mean, yeah, but the point I'm trying to make with this is that if the entire majority of the church accepts it, if it's accepted through the empire, Rome's sanction would be required, which it did receive, but you can still treat it as ecumenical until Rome ratified it. So I don't know the exact date Rome ratified the Council of 381. It might have been 382 or 383, but the point is, it's largely irrelevant in the grand scheme of things.
Okay, so at the Council of Constantinople, forget about all that. It doesn't really matter. The Council of Constantinople, I say y'all, but you added to the Nicene Creed and the Holy Spirit, and then the 4 marks of the church, right?
Yeah.
One Holy Catholic and Apostolic. So
right, there was the second part of the creed.
Yeah, right. So at that time, what does one Holy Catholic and Apostolic mean at that council at that time?
That it's one, that it's holy, that it's Catholic, i.e. universal, and that it's apostolic, i.e. derived from the apostles.
Okay, so it's not a universal ecumenical council, and it's not recognized by Rome until Chalcedon, but
it's recognized by Rome well before Chalcedon.
Okay, well, whatever. Technicality.
A year later. That's a big difference. If Rome didn't recognize it until Chalcedon, you'd have a valid argument for questioning whether 381 was a valid ecumenical council.
It wasn't an ecumenical council. That's the point.
But
it was only ecumenical. It was only ecumenical once Rome recognized it and ratified it as ecumenical at Chalcedon.
My point is, historically, you're actually. I like how he left Jay Dyer as a canonized saint on the screen all this time. He's not right on that. It's actually that the council was recognized as ecumenical, despite the opposition of the Pope, which changed within 1 or 2 years. They did recognize it as ecumenical. They weren't waiting for the Pope. It's just that simple.
Who recognized it as ecumenical? Are you talking about the East? Like they recognize it as ecumenical, even though
basically everyone except the Pope of Rome, like including in the West.
Okay.
I mean, there's acts of the council. This stuff can be referenced. I'm not trying to like just blow smoke.
Yeah. Anyways, I don't know.
Is that really what? I mean, is that what you guys really want to talk to me about? I mean, it's cool. I'm down for it.
What do you want to ask us anything, or because Jay Dyer is a canonized saint? If you can see, we have an Oriental Orthodox in here as well. Do you want to? Should we get him up here? Talk about Chalcedon.
Well, I have a debate on Chalcedon with somebody named Adam, Fanatic Coptic. Hopefully, by the end of this month, if I can find a neutral venue and moderator on the Council of Chalcedon. So yeah, I'm not. I know that I've been getting like little messages from random people like, "Can you tell us what you're thinking on Chalcedon?" No, I'm not going to reveal my strategy. But if you really want to do, I'll talk about some generalities if you'd like to.
Hold on. Sorry.
Would you like to be a neutral moderator for our debate?
Let me look up your channel here. It's NFTU, you said?
Yeah, I'm talking on a Catholic channel now because I was on an atheist channel kick, but they got threatening, so it got bad. So I'm back to talking with some Catholics. And you were live. The algorithm revealed you to me.
NFTU. Orthodox. How long have you been doing this?
Since 2016. I've actually been on YouTube for other things earlier, but yeah, since 2016 I've had a channel.
Who is that picture of St. Paulinos, or who is that?
That's my name. That's my patron saint. That's St. Joseph of Petrograd, who was murdered by the communists in 1943.
Oh, okay. Do you want to ask us anything?
Well, let me think here. Okay. What is? I'll just ask my usual.
Nothing like obscure and just.
No, I'm going to ask my usual shtick. It's my usual spiel when I speak to heterodox. And what's your name again?
Mr. Heterodox.
No, like the first name, like John.
Well, dude, you just called us heterodox. Like, I mean,
why are you insulted? You don't think we're heretics?
Why would I ever call? And I would never, ever call anyone a heretic.
Never, really?
Yes.
Why not?
Because I want to save souls and I want to do it in truth and love.
Do you want to tell them the truth? I mean, David Bentley Hart, for example, he's pretty famous in world orthodoxy, but he also believes in Origenism, rejects the Fifth Council of Constantinople. Okay. Dude, he's a heretic.
Let me tell you this, okay? This might sting a little bit. I'm just because we're talking truth here.
This might sting a little bit.
The problem with Eastern Orthodox evangelizing, even if that is a thing with you guys, is that there is no. I mean, where is it? You guys don't convert anyone because you guys are, what to everybody. You don't even proselytize. You just.
Wait.
Hold on. You're just stuck in the first millennia.
Yeah.
And it's just, you don't want to expand. You don't want to convert anybody. So you just think everyone's going to hell.
Jerk.
And that's why you're stuck at 270,000 people.
No. Believe it or not.
270 million.
Yeah, I would actually say the numbers might even be exaggerated on both our ends. But anyway, the point is, yeah, I wasn't trying to upset you there.
I'm not upset. I'm just telling you that's why you guys aren't converting anyone. You don't call people heretics or heterodox. What is that going to do?
Identify them? All right, here. Let me ask you the question I ask everybody on the show.
Charity means? You know what like charity means?
I'm told.
How would you define charity? Just define it for me.
Love for God.
You can't use love in the definition.
Well, then I would argue, if you're asking me how to define love itself.
Sure, yeah. The theological virtue of love.
I would say that it is a desire for one's soul to be ordered towards the good or towards God, and to wish that on others and bring others to that.
And you're going to do that by calling them heretics?
Is that going to, that if I'm serious about the truth, it shouldn't make a difference. Thank you so much. I am putting that up on the screen. One moment. I did something wrong. John H, thank you. That's $10. That really does help. Some non-Romanian true Orthodox write off Metropolitan Glucaria of Romania as a pseudo-saint because of his prophecy that Antichrist would be born in 1982. Any thoughts? Yes, the exact wording, if I remember correctly, was 1980. It says this will be the year of Antichrist. It does not say that the Antichrist will be born in 1982, but it could just mean that some event happened in 1982 that is bringing on the Antichrist. So that's my take on it. I believe Saint Glyceria is indeed a real saint, and I think they're misinterpreting what the dream was. But thank you again for the 10. I can add that to the banner, and that brings us down to 191. 191, everyone, to help pay the water and phone bill and help somebody out. It's kind of a personal matter for them, so I can't really talk too much about it, but I really do appreciate that. And so we are at 191, and let's get back to this guy having a meltdown.
You can't divorce love from truth. Don't you understand that? It's imprudent.
Well, love is truth, but the point is it loving to deny what a person is?
There's a distinction.
Okay, now you do realize that you're using that same 1960s model of love is like, don't say any hurty words, and that's led us to countless disasters, especially in your church. We can't be mean to people in same-sex marriages. We can't be mean to divorced people. No, so you're not being mean. You're being honest. Honesty is a good thing. I've never met any. I mean, you're really going hard on me for this, and I'm confused because to me, that's part of apologetics is nicely telling someone where they're wrong to hopefully lead them to where they'd be right.
Sure, if it's prudent and you do it in a loving way, and if they're receptive towards it, you don't just come on someone's channel and call people papists, heterodox, and heretics.
Okay. I don't think I use the term papist in this discussion, though I do use it often.
You did use the term.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, that's fine.
I heard it.
Well, that's fine. And look, if you want to call me an Eastern schismatic, I am not going to be offended by it.
See, I would never do that. So don't.
But why not?
Don't project.
Why are you applying?
Don't project what you do onto me and then just like downplay it.
But you're doing the exact same thing by demanding that I don't use negative language. You're actually asking me to hold to your standard and say that's love because my way is not loving and not caring at all. And I don't think that's fair.
I mean, it is my channel.
No. But I understand that. I'm not talking about tone policing. What I'm simply saying is on my channel, I do every week. I talk with heterodox when they come on. And
I can't. I'm sorry. Like it's stupid.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think we can acknowledge our clear differences, but you don't have to just immediately come and be like, yo, heretic, yo, schismatic, yo, this, yo, that.
Guys, if you take anything away from that was a good lesson, right?
Good lesson.
We are all about evangelizing, right? What did Christ commissioned all of us, especially the laity, to go out into all nations where the priests, the bishops, and the deacons can't go. And we're supposed to be the feet and the arms of Christ, right? To love our enemies.
All right.
See,
well,
I love the Eastern
so.
Orthodox. I have no problem with them. But when you take out that verse, love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you and bless those who persecute you, you take that out and just say, I'm just being honest.
Bye-bye. Oh, this was ridiculous. Oh, yeah. He continues on about how you're not going to convert anybody if you do act like this. I'm like, give me a break, you wokey. Like, if you can't say heretic, I mean, I'm blown away. And then these people call this stuff apologetics. They have their guys like, Christian Wagner and stuff that circle around the table and they all get, their own, they build up their followings among each other and they think this is defending the faith. It's not. It's a certain, I can't use that term. It is a I think a few people know what term I was about to say, but the point is it's a hug fest. It's a self-congratulatory foolishness. Once again, we are doing this live Q&A. We have a target of 191 today. I'm actually being very specific. It is for the water bill. It is for the phone bill. And welcome, Father Boniface. How's it going?
Benedicite, Christ is risen.
Yeah, it truly is risen. Yeah. So what's it called? It's just amazing. And don't forget, if you want your comment on the screens, you can always do a super chat. And if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat.
I just want to reiterate a point that you made, but throw it in a different light, actually. He's coming from his own perspective. But I encounter this all the time when you talk to people, let's say out in the marketplace. They are saying you're not loving and whatever like that. And it's basically they are defining the word love.
Mm-hmm.
From their own own perspective and not Christ's perspective, but they think that they have the goods on the word love, and the definition of their idea of love is compromise and make everybody feel happy, and you're just not evangel. You can't evangelize by calling someone a heretic. You can't evangelize with rebuke, with like you said, a word of correction. You could just, that's not evangelism, because you're going to offend people and people are going to walk away from you, and you're never going to build your church that way.
Yeah, exactly. But the point is, the whole point of the gospel is that you tell the truth, and then those who are willing to believe it will believe it, and those who aren't will walk away. I mean, that's honestly what happens all the time. And for some guy to then be like, well, that is not the way the church operates is a lie. People are just lying. And so that's I mean, it may get you more followers, it may make you more popular, etc. But the truth remains the truth. It's just that simple. Like, I can't change it. So that's something that if they're offended by it, if this guy was offended by it, like, oh, you said the word heretic, that's the church's term. Catholic Edgelord asks, okay, I do see a lot of comments, so I'm going to try to go through them, and we'll just run through them again. If you want your comment on the screen, you've got to actually, if you could do a super chat, because we do need that. Keep the things running. Polojanic says Antichrist was born in 1967. That would make him 58 or 59 years old, which is impossible according to the predictions of the Holy Fathers. Somebody aligned to Antichrist could be that old, but not Antichrist himself. He has to be a false image of Christ. Karan says, yes, be honest. Ramagata says, and receptive. Yikes. TG says, wow, huh? Karan says, he pulled it to the It's My Channel card. Yes, he did. Sunrise, remember when St. John the Theologian fled a bathhouse because a heretic was inside? I can totally see that. But the point is, this guy can't. Ramagata, Matthew 10:34. Denise says, I call this comedy. Actually, it's a sad reality. Karan says, man, I can't hear this disinformation. All they do is run. Karan, yeah, that's the term I wasn't going to use, and I'm just going to use a hug box because that's a clearer term. Denise says his theme song, It's My Party and I'll Cry If I Want to. I'll say it. Okay, yeah, I can't repeat that on the air. Sunrise says, love is not letting someone live a lie. That's the truth. Denise says, truth is love. Ramagata says, tough love for them. They cannot accept it. Catholic Edgelord asks, is holding hands before marriage a sin in Orthodoxy? Like some traditional Catholic manualists claim to. Y'all go for the hardest questions sometimes. I'll tell you. If you want to get technical, yes. However, nobody gets technical in our day and age because of the fact that the age is one of deep corruption. If you start flipping out on people who are holding hands in public, say, for example, there is no logic to this. It's so far gone from current experience. We need to return to an age of purity before those things can happen. Like, stop looking for the hardest take to judge others. Like, we have, I've mentioned the music thing. I've mentioned the sports thing. Holding hands, like, if people aren't being utterly disgusting, yes, technically you can find in the canon you're not supposed to touch a woman before marriage. But I don't think that's the motivation here. I don't think purity is the motivation. I think judgment's the motivation. In the old times, people were chosen in marriage by their parents usually. The spouses didn't even see each other. This isn't the reality of today. And applying the reality of today, which is a sinful reality, upon innocent people who don't know any better? Come on. John H. asks, is San Isidoro y San Leandro Western Orthodox Catholic Church of the Hispanic Mozarabic Rite in New York still open? The answer is a resounding no. The old monk there that was there has passed on as of, I want to say, something like 10 years. The building was given to his family, who were Jehovah's Witnesses, and it's on sale currently for something like $4.1 million. See, Denise says that's retarded. CE Karan says, ha ha ha. Come on, no, don't do it, bro. Don't hold her hand. It's a sin. I mean, the problem with that is this is how, you might find it's like, a good person. I'm going to talk to the guys here. You might find a good woman, and because of your weird, unrealistic, and non-this century, non-this millennium view on holding hands, might scare her away. TG, would it be classed as a display of public affection? I don't think anyone would deny it's a display of public affection, but the whole point is the canons are written in a way and from a time where affection was not shown. Could we return to that time? Absolutely. Have we returned to that time? No. It's like swimsuits. Swimsuits used to actually cover your body. We entered into a disgusting age where they no longer covered the body and became like underwear. But you know what? They're coming back. Swimsuits are coming back. So what you should do is hope and pray for a time where maybe your grandkids are that pure. But don't start just messing with people today. Like, it's wrong. Quran says, but if Father, do you disagree that it's important to inform people in taking a hard stance, such as no might set a good precedence and a good step toward the future? If you want purity, go for it. I would say look for people who hold that standard if that's truly what you want. Find a woman who agrees with you on that standard. But don't go talking to the people who don't understand that standard and be like, you're a monster. You are holding hands. Like, that's insane. Like, why would anyone do that? Instead, use the standard you have. You don't want to hold hands until marriage? Sure. Find and reach out to women who don't want to hold hands until marriage. That's all you can do. If you go further than that, you're just being kind of a judgmental person, okay? And don't do that. Just don't do that. Like, and I see this because I see it on Twitter. I'll see, and I usually block women on Twitter, but not before I see like 100 trad boys jumping on saying something horrible. Like, you guys, like, not you personally, because my fans are smart, but these guys are like, they'll go off and they'll be like this vile, and they'll use all sorts of archaic slurs like whore and stuff, and to a random stranger. Like, that's psycho. Like, that's psycho. Don't approve of it. Don't think those guys are based. They're not based. They're probably homosexuals. So just stop. Okay? Trust me. Trust Father Joseph on this one. All right. So once again, I'm going to put up the banner because, of course, desperation. Target is $191 for the water and the phone bill, as well as to help someone out. Thank you for those who have super chatted, which so far is John H. But we really could use the help. But in any case, I'm sorry if it sounds like I'm like spurging out on this issue, but it's a serious issue. And I know that a lot of you guys many of you are single and you want to get married. I'm just trying to give you advice that will at least keep you in the game, man. Like, don't throw yourself out of the game because you want to pretend you're St. John the Faster, unless you're going for a wife who's like Saint, like, let's see here, like Saint Catherine of Alexandria or something. Like, unless you're aiming for saints, don't pretend to be one. So that's my take. And so I'm leaving this up on the screen. Again, if anything you can do to help out, really appreciate it. And let me see here. Let's take a look. But anyway, yeah. So my point is with bathing suits is that they were in many cases have returned. So now a lot of people go swim basically clothed. I do that. I know most people I know in my family do that. Yeah. Subsister says, as an atheist, I'm sick of woke Christians. It feels like it weakens the actual benefits of the religion. You're actually not wrong. The fact that what they've done is they've softened it so much that truth becomes totally irrelevant. And that's just a shame. Sunrise says, "Do you take your pet sharks?" I haven't. I have not. Pet shark swimming with you. I have not owned. I can't even put it on his hand because of the dog. I've only owned him for like. I don't even own him. He's actually not mine. He's actually my wife's. But yeah, Walgreens, $3. But I've only owned him for like 2 months. Big Sosa says, "Father bless, God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit, amen." See, good thing I word on this hand. But anyway, so yeah, he hasn't been around in a while. Maybe I'll bring him back. I don't know. But yeah, so I'm hoping that is helpful. I'm not trying to. It's just I don't. It's okay to spurg about the truth when you're seriously ready to face the consequences for it. Otherwise, I wouldn't go so far because it just looks like a massive display of arrogance. So that's my warning to you. But again, if you are reading the bottom of the screen, and I should add other things here, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. We do this normally on Sundays. But yesterday I was online, so I decided to kind of show off that the video clip of what happened. What a disaster. But yeah. But I think the irony of getting mad at calling people heretics, the funniest thing is that the stream title included the word heretic. All right. Oh, John H again. The big help. Thank you so much. That's for 20 in Canadian. Thank you so much. Any thoughts on Elder Thaddeus of Vitovicna, or Vitovicna? I forget which one it is. He was with the Serbian Patriarch, but it's hard for me to look at his life and not think he was a holy man who achieved theosis. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know enough. I don't know enough about him to make a judgment. I do know that he was a new calendarist. The Serbian state did come down hard on some new calendarists as well as virtually all of the old calendarists or the true Orthodox. I don't think he viewed us positively, so that is going to be something to keep in mind. So yeah, I'm going to leave the jury out on that one. Karen says, "I'm asking just for my spiritual progress, not trying to pretend or anything. If you need to be baptized, no talking about spiritual progress. Get thee to church and get baptized, then we can have that chat. Not trying to pretend or anything. Yeah, well, definitely if you're still in the you gotta go to the church, get baptized, received. Reconquista says, "Father, during the pandemic, priests were doing multiple spoons. A priest was defending by saying it was an innovation of 1,000 years ago. People prior didn't use a spoon." That's the two wrongs don't make a right argument. Like in the Western Rite, you can actually administer by hand. I've talked to Father Boniface about this too, like the things with the fistula, so on and so forth. Yeah, you just because people didn't use a spoon, and they did, it was actually not a universal practice, but they did have those 1,000 years ago, so that's not exactly true. So yeah, no, that's not because here's the problem with using multiple spoons. Whenever you touch the holy mysteries with the spoon, that spoon is reserved now for use for the holy mysteries. So unless this can happen multiple ways. So if he's keeping all the spoons, it's stupid. But I mean, as long as he keeps the spoons, he's okay. Denise, thank you for helping keep the lights on. No comment there. $10. Really appreciate it. So I'm going to update the banner. And now we're getting really close, guys. Really appreciate it. Hold on. So we're going to update JH to 30. Include Denise to $10. And that is, let me see here. That's $30. So 161, everyone. We are at 161. We can do this, guys. Got to cover that water bill. Michael says 2 wrongs don't make a right, but Jacob Dyer is always right. Father, when were you going to tell us Jay Dyer's your nephew? He's not my nephew. If anything, he'd be my cousin. He's only about 5 years younger than I am. So, he just pretends to be young. Let me see here. No, so he's not. Yeah, he's as old as I am. Okay, Reconquista looks like you're trying to join. Memento Mori. There have been accounts in the lives of the saints who witnessed heretics. In one case, it was from an Monophysite that were ascetics of a high level. That the saint questioned if he was wrong. That is true. God revealed, even though he was a pious ascetic, the Monophysite was still, in fact, a heretic. Yeah, and I learned that lesson personally. Interestingly, it wasn't a life of a saint, but there was a case where I was under a bishop who began to preach questionable heresy, and I was very young and new, and I was like, he's like a super great fasting. He's like a really good faster and like kind of a real ascetic. And a guy pointed out to me, he said, Pope Shenouda's a great ascetic. This was when Pope Shenouda of the Monophysites was alive, but that's actually true. Okay, so Reconquista is trying to get on. Looks like it, and we're trying to get him here. Okay, there he is. Can we hear? Can you say something?
Hello.
Okay. Hello. How are you doing? What's your
Good.
question or your comment, Reconquista? I appreciate it.
So, I've met up with some of my, I guess, old friends from the OCA, I guess you could say. And I guess what I'm trying to do is kind of, again, I'm not the most knowledgeable about everything that's going on, with all the heresies and all the stuff. But what is the best way that you would say to approach this topic to them? Because obviously they're close to this OCA parish, but I also, I care for them. I want them to know the truth.
Well, one of the best things that you can do, obviously, is you want to live your Orthodox life as fully as possible. And so that means if you don't have, for example, a church around you, that you're saying Typica. Because in many cases, there have been cases of true Orthodox missions that eventually grew into churches that started with just lay people saying Typica. So that would be the best way that I would say it. I mean, it sounds weird that you want to invite them to your home, but if that's what you got, that's what you got.
And you my home is in Clearwater now, so I got a parish near me.
Oh wow! Oh, okay, cool. So that's Dormition, I assume.
Yeah. So,
yeah,
but
okay.
I come down. I go down south to Miami, every like 2 or 3 weeks. So, I met up with friends, but I just don't want to like, hey guys, your bishop is a heretic, and like, you know what I mean? Because that's usually not the best way to approach it.
Well, many times people already know it, so you don't want to just downplay it. It's very common that they know about it. It's bothering their conscience, and don't be afraid to bring it up. If it comes up, it comes up. If that, because sometimes that they're doing the same thing to you. Like if people are like, I love my bishop, he's so great. It could be cope. It could be that they're literally just trying to make themselves feel better and hope you agree with them. And so I just always say the truth, and you should always be correct and okay.
Yeah, because I sent one of my friends basically a link, basically a quote of Father Seraphim Rose talking about the OCA, and talking about that there's basically two orthodoxies in America, and and I just want to
because.
Yeah, he didn't respond, but I just want to be like, hey,
yeah,
here you go, just so you're aware that I'm not like making this stuff up, all these claims.
So there aren't any TOC churches in Miami?
No, there's no TOC churches. There used to be a mission, I think, years ago, but then I guess it stopped.
Yeah, there were a couple of missions that collapsed.
Right. The only other thing I can think of is that a mission be started, just like kind of in the vein of what Father Joseph was saying. They come out from that, start a service, and then go from there. And that if your church, you're going to a GOCK church in Clearwater, right?
Yes.
well, then see if that church could take an interest in starting a mission there. I don't know, but that's the only thinking of the alternatives of what you can do. I'd say, well, my friends, that's what I would do. I would say, talk to your priest about it, and see if they could take some interest in that and get some prayer going, and see where your friends take it.
Well, they're not in. They're in my friends that are in the OCA church down south, but I'm meeting up with them, and I just want to kind of explain to them, hey, look, there's like a lot of like things that I've learned recently about ecumenism, heresy, and what's going on with a lot of the bishops, especially in the OCA. I mean, it just seems like they're rampant with very, very strange things.
They're going to be they're just going to be end up floating. Where are they going to go if they get some kind of a conviction that they need to do something about it? Then what's the next step? They got to do something about it.
Yeah, they have to start a mission, etc. Yeah, it's as simple as that. You want the one thing, if you just suggest that, if it comes up, like, what are we supposed to do? You just say, start a mission, start a reader service, start doing reader services in Typica at home. That is what the Orthodox have always done. And so, there's no need for any floating around or confusion or anything like that. Just, they know what reader services are. They know what Typica is, most likely. They've heard of them. They have them in the OCA, etc. So the simple reality is just tell them the truth. Don't assume that they're just going to fall away and float, etc. I mean, they have conviction enough that they wanted to become Orthodox.
Yeah, true. And I think ultimately,
Sunrise,
I think a lot of us.
Go ahead. You broke up.
A lot. I think ultimately a lot of us converts came into the church because of Christ.
Right. And so they're not going to be hurt if they find out you're telling, because here's the thing I always say, most of the converts to Orthodoxy in the past few years have been the victims of spiritual fraud. They've been told that these are the bishops who have been preserving the faith and the truth, but they were lied to. But many of them were already used to being lied to. So if they just want to be Orthodox, coming under a true bishop is not going to be that. It's not going to be that big of a deal. It's going to be more a big deal for people who are comfortable, who have less interest in the truth. But sometimes that happens. Sometimes people convert for superficial reasons, often with marriages. There's not much you can do about that. All you can do is say the truth. Sunrise says you can't be a martyr unless you have the correct faith either. That is true. Sunrise says tell them about the Jewish rabbis at the OCA seminary. LOL. Well, that's one thing you can bring up, obviously. But there's a lot, and so yeah.
I'll do that, and
I'll ask some questions.
I'll do that, and I'll put the new Kanye song for them too as well, so they can listen to it.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds good. TG says, wasn't it the OCA who had the female readers? I believe it was Acolytes, and the Antiochians also had them, as well as the Greek Archdiocese, and to my knowledge, some of them still have them. They've been phased out mostly, but they still do exist.
So I read something recently that,
and then of course we can't forget that Alexandria had. Huh?
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, Father.
Yeah, I was going to say, don't forget in Alexandria they just made a deaconess, a female deacon. So
I read something about
did it as a liturgical order, which is
deaconess in the Moscow MP. Is that true? That there are those deaconess in
I haven't
Moscow?
heard. They've already opened the door, so I haven't heard of it, but that doesn't mean it's not true. It could very well be true. Sunrise says Father Sarah from Rose and St. Philip of New York talk about the OCA plenty. Show them that. You can show them that. That's also true. TG says that was the Antiochians door. It's a link. And TG says Maury, thanks for the correction. All right, so we're moving along. Again, support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR. Let me see here. I'm just going to check for any updates. and I am hopeful that we can cover that, because that needs to be taken care of really soon. So, beginning to check things. And of course, on stream, thank you again. Our target is $161 for water, a phone bill, and to help someone out. John H. says Saint Nectarius of Ayegina ordained 2 deaconesses. True or false? It is true, but they were for monasteries, not for parishes. The deaconess has always been a specifically female order. And in that, I'm talking about baptism of converts, for example, because the baptisms were in the nude, and so on. However, St. Nectarius did that so they could go on the altar for church order. That is not what is happening today. So that is important to make a distinction. I don't have a problem with a deaconess technically as a monastic order. I do have a problem with deaconesses being used as basically female deacons in a church, because that's never how they did that.
Father,
let's continue on.
Yeah. So I was watching. I know that this guy's very taboo, and not many people like him. But I was watching Gregory of Colorado. One of the videos that he was talking about, I guess, the patriarch Anagoras, I believe it is, and Meletios.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that they opened the tomb of one of them, and that it was like the most disgusting smell ever. Instead of like all the saints, it's the opposite.
You see, this is a problem. This is a very big problem. The assumption that all the saints are going to smell good, the assumption that all the saints are going to be incorrupt, that's not always true. And the fact that, and that's part of the reason why I don't like using such so-called evidence. It can be used for demonic deception. So the problem is that people like Gregory encouraging that are encouraging the potential for demonic deception. And so that's why I don't do it. I don't agree. It's not only that means that's not simply misinformed. It's literally misrepresenting Orthodox positions and teachings. Sunrise says, in the event that I were dying and it was necessary to give me communion, I would neither receive it from the Parisians nor from the American false autocephalite, St. Philaret of New York. Very true. Johnny says, Sunrise is not about the Jewish rabbis at the OCA seminary, and Sunrise is going to, I assume, go get it because he says, hold on. Again, we're running this stream because I am trying to cover two bills, technically, water and phone, as well as help somebody out with a personal matter. So that is why the target is at $161. Whatever anyone can do, really appreciate it. You can help out in various ways, whether PayPal, Cash App, crypto. I'm not seeing anything PayPal or Cash App or crypto related. So all I can update is with the super chats, which we do appreciate, because that allows me to pay for things with a credit card, and then I can pay it back later. In any case, let me just see what is going on. Let's see here. But yeah, so I hope that answers that question. Unfortunately, that is true that, there's a lot of bad information out there and we have to try to cancel it. I do have plans. I believe that a lot of these questions have already been answered in previous streams going back years. So I'm looking to repackage some of those questions from older streams. Okay, Reconquista. Thank you for that, for $9.99. And Jewish doctors I don't think we have any Jewish doctors here. But I'm going to add that to the total. Give me just a moment while I change that. Okay. Okay, so we are now down to 151. What? Go ahead.
Should we be worried? Like, let's say, for example, like in the OCA, I just saw recently that the bishop prior to the one that they have right now in the South, that he was incorrupt. Should we be like cautious towards that?
You mean Bishop Dimitri of Dallas?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't buy. I mean, again, I'm not sure what to think about that. I will say I'm pretty convinced he's not a saint because he's not Orthodox. And I mean, he was involved. I never found the extent of it, but I don't know exactly how much we know about the relationship between him and Lee Harvey Oswald. They hate talking about that, but he was in the documents.
He was the
Yeah,
talk of Lee Harvey Oswald.
Yeah, he baptized him, and yeah.
Wow. Okay. Wow. That's something interesting.
Yeah, that's to my knowledge, that's all. I think there's more there, but I haven't seen much. But and with the release of the JFK archives, it's hard to. They're big. They're big and they're badly organized. So I will say that. Big Sosa says, I was told by World Orthodox that a synod council determines a person standing in the church and that a bishop can stop his faithful from commemorating, but the final decision is the church corporately. Doesn't this reduce the church to a mere organization? The background context to this was a discussion about Nestorius. Yeah, I would say that not only is that person wrong, but yeah, they have the power of anathema is something that belongs to the church, and they've taken that away. Let's see, John A. Look up Academic Third Symposium Annual. Okay. I assume this is about the OCA thing. So the target is now $151 for the water and the phone bill, and to help someone out with a private matter. Thank you so much for your help so far, but we got to hit this target. This one's kind of important because we really like water and the phone. So let me see here. You can put it on the screen if you can, Father. What are we looking for? Like the Academic Third Symposium Annual OCA? Is that what we're doing with Google here?
So, question. Also, is it proper for a priest to kick someone out of the church? Like,
that's
in the
part
world
of his job. If they're acting out of line, it is kind of their job. Because especially if they're like spreading heresy or something, yeah, that is their job.
Yeah, but if they're not spreading heresy or anything like that, like let's say, for example, you question one of the practices of the priest, would that be grounds to kick someone out or anything like that?
Well, if it wasn't heresy, like what was he doing?
Oh, well, like, because when I was in the World Orthodox, I basically got kicked out for basically kind of just because I wouldn't be his spiritual son. He was trying to force me to be his spiritual son.
Okay, so you're talking about your own case.
Well, yeah, this is the case, but I'm no longer World Orthodox, but when I was.
Okay, that sounds like it solved itself. You weren't their religion. He did his job in kicking you out of their religion, and now you're Orthodox.
No, yeah, but I just want to know: is it proper for a priest to do that, to kick someone out just because?
If he thinks you're a threat to the congregation, yeah, absolutely. Okay. I mean, look at it from our perspective. Let's say that you were. Let's say you're in your church in Clearwater and you suddenly become convinced of monophysitism, and you start trying to convince other people in the parish of monophysitism.
But I wasn't preaching any heresy or anything like that.
Right, but the point is, from his perspective, you were, because you were no longer preaching what was the line of World Orthodoxy. Does that make sense?
Well, I guess, but it was just that he was trying to force me to be under. I went to another spiritual father instead of him. He gave me his blessing to go to another spiritual father, and then after we had like a little incident, he said that I have to become his spiritual father. That he has to be my spiritual father, basically, and if not, then I have to leave the church.
Okay. Like, I mean but you were talking about things, I assume, like ecumenism, so on and so forth.
No, I hadn't even gotten that far. I was just, It was just no, I hadn't even gotten that far into. I wasn't even into that stuff at that moment. It was just that I was going to another spiritual father. He feels that like my personal life, that there was issues going on or whatever in my personal life, and then I said to him like he wanted me to be his spirit, like be under him specifically, like under him, like he wanted to be my spiritual father, and I told him no. So he was basically trying to force me to be like to go back to him, basically.
Okay. Like it's a really weird scenario you're describing. I mean, I would need to have context.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I don't know. I would just say that probably it sounds really weird, and I've heard really weird things about some of the spiritual practices happening in World Orthodoxy. So I have no idea what that was. That doesn't sound typical by any means. So I have no idea what happened there. So I don't know if it was right or wrong. It sounds odd, is what I would say.
Gotcha.
A little,
Okay.
a little culty.
That's how I felt.
No. Okay. Let's let me see. Did you want me to put this on the screen, Sunrise? Because I have it. It's the Facebook thing. And let me see. Denise says, for the record, Unseen's music watch broke, and I looked up how much a watch repair would charge to fix it, and it says $100 to $500 to repair. Our beloved monk needs financial help right now too. Yeah. Although I wonder if it would just be cheaper to buy a new music box. I have no idea. Sunrise says Jewish rabbis OC. Let me share what this is talking about. 1 second. Nope, this was the wrong one. Sorry. Hold on. Did I close it? I may have closed it. Yeah, okay. So let's put this up. 1 second, please. This is from St. Vladimir's Orthodox Theological Seminary. Let me see if I can make it bigger. This is last year in November, and 2 live stream keynote addresses. Register today to access the online live stream and hear His Eminence Archbishop Alexander, OCA Diocese of the South. I assume that's Alexander Golitsyn, who denies the Fifth Ecumenical Council. And Rabbi Reuven R. Kimmelman give the opening talks for this fascinating symposium about entangled Jewish and Christian perspectives on the encounter with God. Okay, sure. All right, let me shut that down. That's bizarre. Okay.
Isn't Saint Vladimir the one that Father Seraphin Rose warned? I believe it was Metropolitan Jonah not to go to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was correct. Johnny says thumbs up. Denise says traditional part of his readings. Karan says, bro, this is actually jokes. Big Soza with a big $4.99. Thank you so much for helping keep the lights on, or in this case, the water flowing. They were stating that Nestorius was still in the church even after St. Cyril excommunicated, and St. Cyril was wrong for doing so. That's okay. That's levels of wrong. The first thing is they keep saying Nestorius was still in the church, but then why were people breaking communion with him immediately, and why did the Ecumenical Council bless that? Because he wasn't in the church. So they can say, but he was still in the church, and then your answer is, but you're wrong. You're just wrong. Ask them to prove Nestorius was still in the church with something other than a greeting in a letter, and you will see that they have no evidence. And that St. Cyril was wrong for doing so. Well, then that's an automatic admission of ecumenism. So voila. And so Karan says, "Tis dude, that's weird. Run, dude. Okay. Let me update the banner. Okay. And we're going to look this 4, 5. Get an extra penny in there, definitely. And that brings the target down to 146 people. And as I said, we have a very specific purpose: the water bill, the phone bill, and to help somebody out privately. So whatever you can do, we are now down to 146. Sunrise says OCA Newskeet also venerates Francis of Assisi and other heretics. That's correct. They have icons of him up. So let me think here. Reconquista, did you have any other questions or comments or thoughts?
No, not at the moment, but I usually they come sporadically.
All right. Okay. Well, you can just stay in the stream if you want. That's fine. Let me see here. Heretics, people got up and left the building as soon as Historia started spewing his heresy. That is correct. Father Mark says, hey, Christ is risen. Truly is risen, Father Mark. TG says, truly is risen. Sunrise says, truly is risen. So, the OCA is nuts. It absolutely is nuts. Once again, this is a live Q&A stream, so if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. Let's see here. Again, so it's we're doing the stream. We're looking for challenges, and frankly, as you saw if you watched the earlier part of the stream, some people are so woke and politically correct at this point that you can't even magically say heretic or unceasingly says, God bless your efforts in defending the faith, and thank you for helping keeping the water flowing, helping keeping the lights on, and keeping the phone and other things. We are really appreciate it. Very much pray unceasingly. So we are adding that to the banner. We're getting close now. It's getting kind of crazy. So that was $20 from Pray Unceasingly. So we are now at, this is kind of awesome. Pray Unceasingly PU, and we're going to add $20 to the super chats. You can also donate by PayPal or Cash App or Give Send Go. All of these and crypto, of course. So we are now down to the target of 126. We have not hit 6 hours. That was just a mistake. So we're at 126 for the water and phone bill and to help someone out. So that's what we got going so far. Let's see. Father Mark in places Orthodox Church almost. OCA. Very true. Debt to compromise, is it possible? World Orthodox are trying to replace the term heretic with uncanonical. That's an interesting question, but they're not being consistent about it because, you know, technically they have never used the term uncanonical on Roman Catholics. Let me see here. Sunrise. Happy crying face. Taylor Harden, John says people on X were trying to say Athanasius stayed in communion with the Arians to try to use that as an excuse for their ecumenism, and they'd be wrong because Saint Athanasius wanted nothing to do with the Arian heretics. So this stuff, you always ask for a source when you see stuff like this. Just demand a source. They will make up stuff. I've seen this. People just make up stuff. And it's embarrassing. It's really kind of embarrassing. Yeah, the Taylors, that's what I said. Okay, good. Because that's the way you catch these people. I hate to say it, because they're starting to act more and more snaky and not honest. While I'm not a fan of calling people snakes, I mean, if they act like it, then you earn the title. So yeah, we are at a target of $126 for water and the phone bill and help someone out. So I've got super chats. We're doing great. I'm hoping that we can. John H says, was St. Constantine baptized by an Arian or not? Not according to the church's liturgical literature. While that claim has been made, the assumption is that St. Constantine was baptized by Pope St. Sylvester. That's one thing that you have to understand, that a lot of the stuff that people are being taught is not even supported by the official teaching of the church, which we find in her prayers and services.
Father,
I just had a headache. Go ahead.
One thing that I heard a while ago from this is from Brother Nathaniel, was that Jesus was not a Jew because he pre-existed prior to man. So when he incarnated, he was not a Jew. He's beyond that. I guess was his argument.
Brother Nathaniel, I'm gonna try to see if I haven't been clear about this, but Brother Nathaniel makes all his money off of white supremacists. So quite simply, he's just parroting whatever line they're gonna say. Jesus would have incarnated as a Jew. Yes, the word obviously does not take on that identity, but it's kind of silly to say that. And that sounds like something he's saying to please, the spicy Nazi crowd, because that's how he makes his money. I get it. Some people make their money doing entertainment. Some people, I try to make my money telling the truth. But some people tell people what they want to hear. And I have no intention of doing that. It may not be what you want to hear, but I like to pride myself on trying to tell the truth.
No, I know. I just want to know the truth because it sounds like it could be, reasonable because it's but then, I don't know. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah, but first off, as God, he's above religion, but as, an incarnate man, he was part of the Jewish religion. There's just no way around this. He went preaching in the temple as a child because he was Jewish. This is basic stuff, but they don't want to hear it. Denise says 30 pieces of silver. Yeah, Jesus had to be a descendant of King David. He had to have been a Jew. Father Mark points that out. Like, the point is, I feel like Brother Nathaniel knows everything that we're saying here, but he also needs to eat. And if the way he makes his money is by appealing to a certain audience, that's what he's going to do.
So why doesn't he just become, because all the people in World Orthodoxy can't stand him. Why doesn't he just go into...
They can't stand him now. He's been there for how long? Since 2009? The only reason they can't stand him now is because he got popular for a few. They can tolerate anything, and I'm sure they're tolerating him right now because he's not doing anything. That's what it comes down to. He's talking to his Nazi subscriber base. They don't know any better. They don't hear anything about it, and vice versa. I mean, there's nothing complicated. It's business. God's Grim Reaper says, "What is woke?" Okay, if I got to define that, woke as it stands now is talking about oversensitivity to things like race, religion, sexual orientation, so on and so forth. That's what it is. You have to be hip to it and you have to be polite about it, and that's what happened. Because I use the term heretic, there was a massive amount of pearl clutching, and I was booted off a stream. Hope that answers your question. Mentamori says that became frustrating to speak with others on why I left Roquan P, and usually at some point I would try to justify and bring up these false narratives about saints. Yeah, it is frustrating. And then eventually, the final straw is when you realize they're just willing to lie to maybe an audience or a friend group that you're dealing with, because they would rather just lie about it than tell the truth. But this is common now in this era. Lying is promoted. Lying is how do I put this? It is it's considered acceptable. It is it is negative otherwise. More of a brethren says day stream. Yeah, had to do a day stream. We've got a target to hit for the water bill, the phone bill, and to help somebody out. So we're at 126. We're doing yeah. Karan says lying makes you money. Yeah, I know. It'll get labeled as quote politics. Yeah. Yep. This is you're right here. But this is part of the reason why I celebrate every 100 followers, because I know that for every 100 people, there's a good 100 people to 500 people who don't like what we're saying. And that's fine, but we have to keep going regardless. Yeah, Matthew says, until the truth gets you persecuted. Absolutely. There's no doubt about that.
Father, one of the things that I remember also is that one of the things that a priest would say also is that we know where the church is,
but then we don't know where the church isn't, which isn't true. We often don't. We often know where the church isn't. It's called the Synodicon of Orthodoxy. It'll list you 100 different sets of different sects of people who the church isn't.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, it's read every Sunday on Orthodoxy Sunday during Great Lent.
Oh, okay. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. All right. That's interesting, because that was like always the thing, and I always thought that was a little odd.
Yeah, it is a little odd. Of course, the church knows its own boundaries. It's just people don't like those boundaries. And that's why they don't like talking to me, because I will gladly point to them and tell them to come into the church. Please don't mind me. I'm having kind of a weird headache. As a matter of fact, probably nitroglycerin is the wrong thing to take. That's for chest pain, not head pain. So I will take some ibuprofen. Anyway. Other than that, okay. From John H. Thank you for helping maintain the channel and for keeping the water on. Are there any good books on the history of the church? All the popular ones are by World Orthodox ecumenists like Callistus Ware and John McGuckin. I honestly, the best book I've read is A Pocket Church History by Father Aidan Keller, who is now with Roker MP, and it was written when he was with our synod. In my opinion, it's still the best book because it is so concise and precise. Now, you want to look up a specific heresy and so on and so forth. Then it's not great for that because it won't go into detail. But that's not where you shouldn't be relying on those anyway. So yeah, don't want to rely on modern books. So I would say A Pocket Church History for Orthodox Christians. It's only 70 pages, covers the entire history of the church, very loosely. And then in detail, you can go to the fathers who fought those heresies and read what they had to say instead of what Callistus Ware or John McGuckin's opinion is. That's my take. So I'm going to update that. Thank you for that $5 donation. Really appreciate it. And so we're going to add that, and we're going to drop the target to $121. Come on, guys. We can do this. And so this is awesome. Let's continue. But if you have questions, yeah, Acts is a great book about the early church. It absolutely is, Matthew. And I would add the Apostolic Fathers after that so you can find out what happens next. And those are multiple books, obviously. But yeah, all right. So I am, for the record, taking 600 million. Henry DiCarlo is a new member. Thank you. So member comments also appear on the screen, just so you know. If you just want to see your name on the screen, that's fine. And I am pouring a little bit of water and 600 milligrams of ibuprofen.
Father, another question. So one of the things that I noticed in the World Orthodox churches is they commemorate the President of the United States. And one of the things that Brother Nathaniel pointed out is that why are we commemorating? Well, it was Joe Biden back then when he was like, why are they commemorating a person abortionist like Joe Biden?
The answer to the question is you're supposed to remember in prayer the civil authorities. I did not feel comfortable praying for Joe Biden, obviously. That is included in services sometimes, but you can also, there are versions of the services where it says for the president of the armed forces, and it's not specific. I chose that reading, and now we're starting to find out that maybe he wasn't running things. So, and I keep that reading the same with Trump. I just don't say the name of the president.
Gotcha. So would you say that it would be wrong to commemorate, in a sense, the president of the United States if they're not Orthodox?
No, I would not say that. I would say that we're supposed to commemorate all civil authorities. Do we have to do it by name? I don't believe that's necessary, but at the same time, we should commemorate civil authorities. They keep order in the country. I don't think we have a right, based on political opinions, to cease commemorating them unless they're godless and anti-church specifically.
Okay, gotcha.
Let me see. Mentamori asked a question for Father Mark. I have no idea what they're talking about. Uncle says, what? Oh, they need it most. Yeah. And Quran says, Father, what do you think about politics? Is it all rigged, or are there good people outside the church? Are all the presidents satanic, including this one? I don't know. I would say that a lot of what we are learning about these presidents and their secret societies and stuff is making me question just how far an evil world leadership really is. But also, my role as a priest is limited to what I should say about that. And I say that because I think most people believe in the integrity of government, and there is integrity of government at some level. As much as we would like to include, the police force and your local mailman in the conspiracy, it probably doesn't go up that far. So yeah, I don't do that either. I think that's a great way to get into doomering, which I don't see any reason to do. More of a brethren says, I'm going through Ignatius's epistles. Is it just the 7 epistles? I want to say I believe so. You might want to double check that. Do Japanese, or John H says, do Japanese Orthodox commemorate the Japanese emperor who's a Shintoist? I am not Japanese, and I don't know. I would assume they probably do. But yeah, I don't know. There are limits to my knowledge, people. Let's see here. So once again, our target is 121 for the water and the phone bill, and to help somebody out on a personal matter. Reconquista says, should we commemorate Obama if he's an open homosexual? We should commemorate, as I mentioned, the president. I personally do not name the president, often because I don't know who the real president is. There's a difference. You still have to commemorate the leaders who create order, even if you don't think that their personal lives are good. And there are good, that's another point to make. One can be politically a good president or a good emperor, etc., while having a degenerate personal life. It's not our job to judge that, because in general, we often don't know about it. And that's the big problem. We don't know. Despite the stories about Big Mike, we don't know. We just don't know. Yeah. And so that's a good question, John. Yeah, I don't know, but I'm assuming that they do commemorate the emperor. But the point is, we're supposed to commemorate he who's allowed by God to give order. That's how I see it. Father Mark says it was about the boundaries of the church. Yep. Big Mike. And so once again, this is a live Q&A. Support the channel. We at NFT need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFT.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. Oh, tired these days. Head hurts, hand hurts. But you got to keep going. You know, we have a purpose to it. And as always, this is the live Q&A. If you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. Okay, so let's see here. What else have we got going? Let's see what else is going on the YouTube.
Father, another question.
Sure.
So, I kind of, for the World Orthodox, like my friends that are in the World Orthodox Church, like, is it wrong to say that they're heretics?
No.
Okay, it's correct to say that they're heretics and schismatics technically.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to make sure that technically they're in heresy if they align themselves with a heretical bishop.
Yes.
Okay, perfect.
I mean, it doesn't mean they're not your friends, etc., or your family, but you have to do that.
So I shouldn't.
Father Mark says, I want to announce that ROAC has 2 new missions, one in Texas and one in Mississippi. Okay. That's good. I did not know that. If you want to discuss, if you want to list their addresses, we can put those out on the screen. Karan Randoa says, Father, what is the church's position on dealing with people outside the church? Any specific advice we should know about? Something day to day we can do as an Orthodox Christian when we become Orthodox. Let me see here. Well, I think the gospel gives us pretty good advice on how to treat people in general, and I think we should use that with the knowledge. It's important to remember that there's a lot of heresy out in the world, and you can't hide from it. It's better to interact and be honest with it. Let's see here.
Father, I had a priest once tell me that I guess a World Orthodox priest that I guess was out of driving around or whatever in like a Starbucks or something, and some guy was crying, and he went with the guy that wasn't even didn't know the denomination and started praying with the guy. Is that outside of the bounds of the church?
You can say a prayer for them, but saying a prayer with them if you don't know anything, that's weird. Don't do that's a very Protestant thing to do. Let me see here. If you want to give us more information, also Father Mark, about those 2 new parishes, that'd be great. I hope one of those isn't the one that there was a huge hullabaloo being caused over the priest. I really hope that that's not the case. I think that that's just tacky, and I don't like sheep stealing. Atomic Lead says, good afternoon, evening. That's true. Good afternoon and or evening, depending on where you are. Big Sosa says, how can one be a heretic and a schismatic at the same time when St. Basil says schismatics are technically in the church, whereas heretics are of a different faith altogether? I would go with that. I'd just say heretic. To be honest, I don't add schismatic. I don't see the reason to, considering that there are actual schismatics. So there's no point in throwing inaccurate terms around. John H says, did Elder Joseph the Cave Dweller start commemorating in 1952 or not? Did the World Orthodox lie about him? To my knowledge, they lied about him. But I'd ask somebody more familiar with the Athenites, probably somebody in the Greek church. So that's what I would ask about. Once again, I'm just going to add, we do have a target for today of $121 for water and the phone bill, and to help somebody out with a personal matter. So we really appreciate those who have helped out so far, but we are trying to reach that target. if I seem like I'm out of it today, I'm not feeling well. My finger is in pain from a dog bite. And so, I'm just, I'm a little bit worn today. So just trying to get through the comments and questions. Let me see here. What else do we got? Not much else going on there. All right, so yeah, I'm just got that on the screen. Let me see if I find something on YouTube to review. I saw this, which kind of annoyed me, kind of horrified me actually. We can review this together, or at least the end of this. There is a channel that is run by a guy named Heliocentric, and he just recently, I guess he's like an atheist guy, and he just went to Orthodox Easter, and there's kind of a disturbing thing here. There's a couple of disturbing things actually. I mean, some of the which he liked, like there was a priest who was in a rock band, which I think is going too far because I'm pretty sure clergy can't actually, they can't do performances, although that has happened in the past. I'm not going to say otherwise. So that wasn't the real big deal. The real big deal was when he began describing what people were calling a miracle. And they had like a service for it. I'm just going to put it up because it sounds so weird. Yeah, it's right here. Hold on. Yeah, the video is called "I'm an Atheist. I went to Orthodox Easter." But he describes a basic Pascha service. They go around, Christ is risen, so on and so forth. How real it is. He's very clear that he is an actual atheist and he's not converting. But then I saw this and I got weirded out.
Join the fold and reconvert. And I don't see that happening. I was talking to one of my friends who is an Orthodox priest, and as we were talking, he told me, I believe you. He said, I really think that you're an atheist.
Okay.
And in a weird way, that meant a lot to me. There was one other Orthodox service that I never made a video about, and this parish has like a annual miracle where the light from the window comes in at such a certain angle at one time of the year, and it peers through the window and it illuminates the face of Christ. And I got an invite to go to that service. And so you're there and all the lights are off and the iconostasis is up at the front and everyone there is just waiting in darkness, in the quiet, waiting for that light to come and illuminate the face of Christ. And it was overcast that day. And his face never shone.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there because that was my point, that I have never heard of something this stupid before in church history. I've never heard anything that's stupid. The Hagia Sophia, I actually told him this in his comment sections. In his comment section, the Hagia Sophia was built by design so that when the sun shone, it would make it look like the icon of Christ was floating in sunrise. And in the 5th or 6th century, when they built that, nobody was dumb enough to think that if they looked up and saw the sunlight around it, that it was a miracle. They thought it was beautiful. So if these people have devoted a service to when the sun shines on an icon of Christ's face and call that a miracle, they're deluded. They're delulu. They're delulu. I'm sorry. Let me see. We got somebody says this guy's talking to his Tinder date, maybe. Quran says, Father, would you pray for someone like Father Peter here to come back to the faith, even though he's clearly hiding the truth? I do pray for him, and I'm not often, I should probably conversion. So yeah, I mean, you should pray for everyone. You pray for, especially people who have, because sometimes it's the people who become so zealous that they're willing to lie and injure people that become the greatest of converts. I mean, look at St. Paul. So that's what I would say. EJ, laughing face, Corinne, why not specifically? No, but I would. More laughing face from Denise. Yeah, we should pray for everyone. So yeah, I agree. And as I always say, support the channel. We at NFT need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR. Or on Give, Send, Go. So yeah. Okay, so it's nice we've got a couple of things to clip. We're down to 121 for the to reach the goal that we want to reach here. And that's for the water bill. That is for that's for the phone bill, and that is to help somebody with something personally. Sunrise says, "Father, when will you stop being a meanie?" How am I being a meanie? I'm being honest. And for the record, I didn't play the end of that where he basically is just like, "Yeah, well, you have beautiful services, but yeah, I'm an atheist." Ha 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 ha. Okay, well, you can watch the rest yourself. I just cut that out because I know that a lot of the World Ortho bros will be very disappointed to hear that, and I feel like he got a distinct satisfaction from knowing that they would be upset that they would hear that. I don't care, but there are people who have been, pushing this guy and being like, "Yeah, you're gonna be gone," like, but I wasn't. So what do I care?
Like Jordan Peterson, the same thing. Everybody's been hoping and
Oh
waiting.
yeah. Oh, Jordan Peterson. Meanwhile, he's saying like, the church needs to fix itself. Yeah, whatever. Clean your room, Jordan. The point is that it gets ridiculous. Michael says, "Why do you think Hears is hiding the truth? Explain, please." For the same reason that Brother Nathaniel says stupid things about Jesus not being Jewish, because money. That's all it comes down to. Like, I personally at this point believe that. I don't believe it's out of conviction. I used to believe it was out of conviction. I used to be one of those people who's like, Father Peter, he seems to, not know what he's doing. He'll probably love true Orthodox. He just doesn't know about it. And then you learn the truth and you realize, oh, he actually did know about it. This is an act. So some of the stuff he's doing, I'm sure, will be good for the church historically, like some of his books. But yeah, I feel like deep down, what's driving that is financial. And you can do a lot of that as truthfully as possible. His translations of translation works are probably some of the best stuff that's out there. And you can do that without a single bother to your conscience, because supposedly the Orthodox Church, the World Orthodox, are supposed to be the Orthodox Church, so they should be perfectly happy when they see something like this translated into English. The problem is that, trying to hold his opinions consistently will get you in trouble with authorities. So he knows that is the baptism in 3 immersions is the proper and canonical form. There's no real sin in saying that, but he also knows that all of the bishops he's defending hate that teaching and hate him for saying it. So he's in a weird position where he's advertising people into falsehood, but he does make good money doing it.
But couldn't he just make money just doing the same thing, but just true Orthodox if he were to convert?
You would encounter massive opposition. Look how hard it is for me to, even get like $190. The point is, I'm surviving because there's a few very generous people who help out, if I'm being honest. And I'm very grateful to everyone who helps out in the chat, so on and so forth. But yeah, that's not common. That's not common at all. I'm a weird case. but a part of it comes from the fact that I've been doing this for so long, that a lot of people know who I am. But most people can't just start out that way. Like, he could, in theory, become true Orthodox. He could flip that around, become true Orthodox, go under a true Orthodox bishop. He would immediately become homeless because he lives on the St. Anthony Monastery property. Half his user base would immediately leave him, at least half. He would be immediately attacked by all of the ortho bros on the internet who do actually affect people's income. So yeah, he would face immediate hell. So even if he wanted to have that change of heart, and it would be potentially profitable for him, there would immediately be a mobilization of hundreds, if not thousands, of people to make him lose everything. So not only is he motivated by money, he's also motivated by personal security. And I know that a lot of y'all are young and single. He's not. He's middle-aged. He has a large family. A lot of people will be hurt. So that is why, what do you mean? Hakalani says, but how do we know his personal stuff? We cannot say that about his living. We don't know. Yes, we do. We know he has lots of kids. We know he lives on the property of St. Anthony's, and we know that there's already a sustained opposition against him already. If he became true Orthodox, that would triple, quadruple, and his user base would drop substantially just through slander alone. So the reality is way more complicated than people are making. Not everyone is free to become true Orthodox. It would be nice, and it would be the moral and correct thing to do, but that doesn't mean that it's going to be what everyone does, or it's super easy. Sometimes coming into the truth, you do lose everything. And so I'm going to try to get to comments because there's a few. Let me see here. Let me see. Jordan had a suit jacket made out of icons. Yeah, he did, and it was gross. And that's why people should not put their faith in princes, nor the sons of men in whom there is no salvation. John Wrinkle, flashlight. Someone get a flashlight. There's an atheist in the building. Michael, how do these people sleep at night? Must be doing it for so long now they justify it. Yeah, that's part of it. Sunrise says Uncut Mountain has some good books, it seems, but I'm kind of hesitant to buy them considering who it supports. But that's my point. The books themselves aren't the problem. So, would I buy from Uncut Mountain? I have before. If it's something I need and it's something they have, it's just business. Moreover, brethren, he had an icon jacket made to be in a Christian on chat. Yeah, I know. Karan says that's crazy. Hakalani says it's confusing. Sunrise says, I think Father Peter has a very strong veneration for these neo-Athonite pseudo-saints. That plays a big part, probably. Yeah, I mean, the elder worship thing, I feel like, he kind of, tried to deny that in the debate with me, Craig, and Father Johns, and I wasn't expecting it. But I mean, he does kind of push that. And I feel like he's not being honest with himself if he doesn't think that. Karan says, dang, that sucks. Hakalani says, how do we know his personal stuff? We do. It's public. Karan says, it's a terrible thing. It's confusing. Karan says they're basically holding his family hostage. Yeah, but what happens when his family is all adults? Is he gonna do the right thing or no? And so that's a hard question. I'm not a person who can answer it. EJ Jordan Peterson friends Jonathan Bego makes his icon designs. Jonathan even designed Ruslan's Katie icon t-shirt for merch. Really? That's true? Like, that's awful. That's not, I don't know that that's a good thing. I mean, I guess there are icon t-shirts. We can't deny that. But yeah, doing it for Ruslan. Glennie, we don't know the in and outs of the particulars of his situation. That's true, we don't. But from what we know, there's already enough justification as to why a person would hesitate in his position. John H says, what's a good website to buy icons and books from them? Most of them are World Orthodox websites. There's St. Elizabeth Convent. is one. And also, I've noticed at the monastery in Cobleskill, if you know their website, they've started producing icon prints as well. Let me see here. Michael, he recently did a stream with my priest about ecumenism. Supposedly, he despises it. I believe he truly does despise ecumenism. I also believe, however, that he is fully aware of how indoctrinated and ensconced ecumenism is. I am convinced he knows how far the rabbit hole goes all the way into the seminary system. So it is a self-replicating ecumenist monster that you're dealing with, and you can't fix it from the inside. I feel like he knows all three of these things. Sunrise says, I meant Uncut Mountain Press, Gen H, not bad, not the icon site. Sunrise says, but Orthodox Traditionalist Publications has a ton of good books. They do, and they are producing more than I expected. Sunrise says, HTM has icons for sale. And it comes to the question of who you support, and there's the Yugoslavia question. Honestly, most of mine I just printed out and framed. Yeah, you just have to learn how to mount pictures, and you will know how to mount icons. It's the same thing. Michael says, do you use Zelle? I don't. Zelle blocked me a while ago in some kind of weird infinite loop to where I tried to add my bank, and it recognized that I added my bank, but it wouldn't let me add to Zelle. So unfortunately, I do not. I hope everything else. Cash App, Vero. I don't usually put up my Vero. PayPal, and crypto. Yeah, so I have as much as I can, but I've tried Zelle and it won't let me. I am banned. Oh, yep, still got a real weird dizzy feeling. Yeah, but think about who that supports HTM. Yeah, they're name worshippers. Yep. Moreover, brethren, in your church, don't you all wear stuff that is holy on your clothes and have instruments and dance and clap in church? Oh, wow. Thank you for that. JC, really appreciate that. Came in big with a $50 donation. So I am going to add that on. We are now down to $71. We can do this. Come on, guys. I'm feeling weak, but I really appreciate it. Okay. We are down big. We're down to $71, folks. Thank you so much. And you know the direct assist is always awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Okay.
Father, what is your thoughts on the there's a priest, I think he's a priest from Australia. His name's Father Maximus. I think he does like orthodox. What are your thoughts on him?
I don't know who that is. Is that on YouTube?
Yeah, it's ortho. It's like I guess TED Talks, but it's like an ortho talks or whatever.
I think I vaguely have seen that, and I thought the format was goofy. But I didn't watch very carefully.
Like he'll do like 2-hour lectures, like 3-hour lectures, or like 5-hour lectures.
All right, so let me. I haven't seen one. I don't. There's so much that goes on, even in the online space, in the YouTube space. I can't devote that much time to one guy. I don't. If it's a new calendarist and he's just talking goofy, I don't have time for it. Let me see here. Curran says, what do you think about Father Moses? Is he one of the Peter Hearst type? He's really not. He kind of goes in a different way where he kind of tries to be very folksy. I did appreciate his Mr. Beast stream, even though it was kind of goofy. And of course he knows how to. One thing I will say about Father Moses is he knows how to court controversy. So he knows how to get people talking. He's good at that. And I'll give him kudos for that. But do I have an opinion of him personally? No, and I don't think he's like Father Peter Hears. Father Peter Hears is more of a lectury technical type, whereas Father Moses is more of an entertainer. OTP has great books and articles. Yes, they do, and we love them. We think they're great, and there's more coming.
What about
Hoku
Father
no,
Turbo
who?
Qualls? Father Turbo Qualls?
I mean, I've heard that he does good things. I haven't. I don't watch him. Again, I can't watch everyone. Sometimes I was being a bit of a hypocrite on mine, so I apologize. Michael says, "Don't want YouTube taking a cut if I donate." There is Cash App, there is PayPal, and there is crypto if you're into that. But any of those work. Denise says, "Dance and clap in church." What church are you talking about? One of her brethren says, "Win JC." Sunrise says, "I do own the St. Philip book and the Uncommon Prayer with the Heterodox from UMP. I got them when I was in World Orthodoxy." Both of those are good books. So, John H., thank you again for helping out with the stream. Says, "Would you have any thoughts on Jonathan Pageau and his symbolic worldview?" I think semiotics in general, which is the proper term when we're talking about the science of symbols, not symbology, that was made up by the Da Vinci Code. The term is semiotics. I think is important. I think that there's something to it. And I think that we can look at symbolism and study it. And I think that there's some value to it. I'll be honest with you. I think that sometimes Pageau goes a little bit too far from what I've seen, and he will often venture closely. He kind of tiptoes around heretical territory. But I don't have a direct opinion on him unless because signs and symbols rule the world isn't something he made up. That comes from I forget which writer that was, but semiotics is important. So I will say that he has something important to say. I don't know if he's the right vessel for it, but semiotics is important. I think people should pay more attention. Hokulani, more rather than his church, he's not Orthodox. But I also want to say thank you for that donation. That brings us down to $65. 65. We can do this for water, to take out the phone bill, and to help somebody out. I think this is we're really gonna appreciate this. I believe that's gonna put that at 40. Okay. And
Father, do you know if because in the new calendar they what is it, Saint Nikiforos, the leper,
the leper.
Yeah, is he venerated as well in the old calendars?
I'm checking. Because I'm not sure who that is. This is I mean, when he died, let me see here. Born in 1890. Arrived in Chios. I think he may actually be a new calendarist. Yeah, I think he might be a new calendarist. I'm not sure about that. I'd have to ask somebody in a Greek church. I don't know. So I don't know that we would recognize him. Okay, so let me see here. EJ says, okay, so the church is not Orthodox. Denise, he has no home church. Yes, I see. I mean, I can't speak for Michael, but he shared he's still looking, perhaps. Turbo Qualls, his father Moses, Ecumenist. I don't know of Quran. I don't know Father Moses personally. What I do know is that his church joined the Moscow Patriarchate, which is Ecumenist. Michael, what is your PayPal and Cash App? If you look in the description to this video, you will see them. It's the cat. I mean, I try to think here. Yeah. Uncle says, "What is your Zell? Do you have that?" I don't have Zell. I believe I've been blocked out of Zell. Should Father Moses be avoided? Is he like one of them snakes? LOL. I think he's more into entertaining than he is into educating. But I think don't go to his church. I mean, like, is New Advent trustworthy pre-schism text, or do they interpolate text? What they do is they put up what were Catholic editions of text. For the most part, those texts are pretty good. If you use like CCL, which are Anglican translations, because those are most of the major public domain translations in English, those are also good. There's occasional issues with New Advent, but they're very few. Enough that if you're confident in your orthodoxy, you may want to just look up a second translation of a source if you see something odd. Michael says Pagot works with Ben Shapiro at the Daily Jew, the Daily Wire. Well, Matt Walsh is also there. But I didn't know that. I thought that Pagot had his own business. So that's odd to say the least. Corinne says, I don't trust that whole alpha priest thing. Yeah, no, I understand. Elias Michias says, hello, Father. Do you have any experience refuting anti-Chalcedonian Miaphysitism? In my conversations with Orientals, I've never been able to get a consistent position if they believe in essence energy distinction. And I believe the reason for that is because they don't officially believe in that. They don't believe in anything that has been codified since the 5th century. So they will waffle on that. So yeah, you probably won't get one. We do have some videos that do deal with them. We do have some videos that do deal with them, but I'm going to be debating one, God willing, by the end of the month. So I don't know that they do, and that's a hard question. Kalani says, did you read the new article OTP today about how all the Orthodox patriarchates called the new Pope holy? Like, how? It's so confusing. They've been doing that for about 50 years, and now it looks like quote unquote tradition, which it's not. More of a brethren says Father Turbo gets into some spooky theology venerating the icons. It's further than just veneration. I am not sure what you're talking about or what you mean. Incorrupt relics are not a prerequisite for sainthood. Father Moses is the Orthodox Mr. Beast. Well, he's trying to be, definitely. I don't know how successful he is. Let me see here. Fronoma Municipality Contributor says, good afternoon. How are you doing? I heard that Albert N. will be joining the stream later today. Please be welcoming. The link is the link is just there, guys. I mean, if it's you don't have to make an announcement about showing up. Just click the link and show up. Elias Michaelis says, which Oriental Orthodox are you debating? There's a guy named Adam Fanatic Coptic. Carl says, hi, my name is Carl. Welcome, Carl. Sunrise says, I will debate you, Father, in 5 hours. I beg of you people, please help with the donations so I'm not here in 5 hours. Front of me contributor says, hi, Elton. Hope you are well. Because we're just down to 65, and I'm really hoping it doesn't take 5 hours for that to get taken care of. Sunrise is the main event. Well, Sunrise did actually show up on stream last time. I was surprised, so he's always welcome to. Let me once again remind everyone, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. And that would be fine. And support the channel. If you need your help, support us by subscribing or donating at nft.net with various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, L2C, XMR, or on Gizmo. So really appreciate all the help so far. We're almost there. We just need to get this done. We're really close. The good news is This means I can, at least with the rest, I can cover part of it with a credit card. So that helps. Really. Okay. Father Boniface, I don't even know what to say about that. That's weird. I don't. Filthy Frank sounds familiar, but I have no idea what it is. It's like a character or some meme. Filthy Frank. Okay. Oh, Joji. Okay. The pink dude. No, he's not. What the heck are you talking about? Why even say that to the guy? That's not fair, Father. That was kind of goofy. I apologize for having seen that. Let's see. The guys on Fanatic Coptic I heard say that EE is true. But Pope Shenouda III wrote strongly against theosis and said, Eucharist, we do not eat divinity, lahud in Arabic, citing medieval Arabs. That wouldn't surprise me. Yep. Karan, what in the world? Carl says, how is everyone? Okay. Good. What about you, Carl? John H., why did the Kalinikite Union of 2014 break down? Are there any synods still in communion with each other? There are. If I'm not mistaken, the GOCK, the Road Court A, and the Bulgarian Old Calendar Church are all in communion. It was only the True Orthodox Church of Romania that broke. And so, there's still other synods in communion with everyone. Let me see here. But Elias McKay says the guy in Fanatic. Yeah, okay, I think I read that one. Okay. All right. Well, hoping we can get to once again. That support. Pope Shamoon. Someone's going to be debating me today. I mean, Sunrise, if you want, I guess so. Go ahead. Just call in. If I seem pretty tired and broken down, I kind of am. These questions and comments are not headache friendly. Yeah, well, I got to go through them. I mean, I think that the reality is, not everything I read is going to be, good or helpful. And, I mean, I remember there were people who were in the old NFTU server who honestly hated my guts. And so I know that at least a few people hate Watch Me. And I'm okay with that, especially this week. So, in any case, yeah, that's, I guess I'm kind of just sitting here. Any thoughts, from you, Father Boniface, or, from Reconquista? Anyone?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay. How about you, Father? How are you doing? Okay, he may have walked away. Pretty tired. But yeah, so I think I've covered everything. Dog bite finger, and covered the woke Catholic guys, and let me see. Covered that atheist guy. I covered most of what I wanted to talk about. So I'm just hoping that we can make it to help with the water bill. We're down to a total target of 65. I'm going to take a moment to have some water, walk away, stand up for a bit.
Father, I got something else.
Okay, what's your question?
So, you know how the world obviously doesn't like Mr. H-Man, and, from what I saw, I saw that the H-Man protected Mount Athos in World War II, correct? Is that correct?
That is correct, yeah.
So, I mean, obviously, we're not meant to like praise the guy, like some sort of saint or
Can I
anything
ask
like
you a
that.
question? Can I ask you a
Sure.
question? Do you want to
Sure.
praise the guy? Tell the
No,
truth.
no.
No. I'm asking seriously because I think a lot of people seriously do want to praise the guy, but don't
No,
want
but
to say it.
I think, like, for example, like another leader that I think as a leader was fantastic is like Francisco Franco, right?
Well,
And a lot of people
everyone, I don't
demonize
know.
him. But
I
Francisco
mean,
Franco,
the only people who demonize Franco are like liberal idiots. I mean, everyone loves Francisco Franco.
I mean, and then you have what's this other guy, DeGrell, Leon DeGrell. I think these people were good leaders, or I don't see them particularly, as terrible as of course everybody else in the world sees them.
I don't
Right?
know
So I
that
don't think,
everybody else in the world sees him that way.
huh?
I don't know that everybody else in the world sees him that way. I think for the most part, it's largely media creation
Correct.
and the
Yeah.
educational system.
Yes, and the educational system that they demonize these people and say that they're horrific, et cetera, whatever. But I don't know. I think that in kind of a way that the more that we move away from demonizing these people, the better things can get. Actually,
I don't know that they're getting any better. I mean, people have become dumber. So to some degree, it's obviously not related. But yeah, we're dealing with a lot more. We're dealing with a lot more difficult problems. The society even 20 years ago was considerably more literate. Now it's hard to get people to read a book, and that's not a good thing. That's actually a terrible thing because it means that we're seeing an increased level of superficial knowledge and, more important, less functional literacy, and that's dangerous. It means that humanity, in some ways, is going backwards, but that has nothing to do with them. But the idea that society is getting better because we're being more open about no, we're just being more open about history the further we get away from it. But that doesn't mean society is getting better because of it, because I don't think society is getting better at all.
well, I mean, I'd say that, like, for example, things that are breaking the mold, right? Like, let's say, for example, even though it's something small, right, culturally, like Kanye West's new song, which is very controversial, right?
Yeah, I
That
know about
everybody,
the new song. Please, let's not sing it, or don't do a TOS on me, man. My life is hard enough.
No. I wasn't gonna do. No, I'm just saying culturally, it's moving like the needle a little bit further, right? So that's a positive thing, because I did read something about some bishops saying positive things about Mr. H Man, and
You can say Hitler; it doesn't matter. I'm pretty
well,
sure
I don't want to do.
that doesn't break TOS.
Okay, good. All right. So I'll just say Hitler. Okay. So yeah, I guess that that there was bishops that said good things about him specifically, and it just doesn't seem like it's justified, like all the hate towards him. You know what I mean? Even from from Orthodox people as well.
Well, I mean, I don't have any hate towards him. I don't think anyone on our panel has any hate towards him. It's not an issue of hate; it's an issue of history.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you have the perspective of America with its Protestant perspective and the way they portray things to just add to the history book. So, you need to try and get some independent sources. I mean, America did horrific war crimes. Charles Lindbergh.
Yep.
Charles Lindbergh was picking them out. And that's most likely why his kid was kidnapped and killed.
Yep.
Because he was rocking the world order. And he was complaining about the U.S. shooting Japanese shipmen their ship was blown up and they were swimming in the water, and the Americans were picking them out of the water with their, shooting at them. And so he was picking up he was telling all these atrocities. So, America's not the sweetest thing at all. They have their their big horrible war crimes also.
Yeah, and I'd say every major civilization has been guilty of war crimes. We can't get past that. That's the simple reality. But I think the reason why I think the reason why the discussion of Hitler is kind of distracting is because of what's happening in Gaza now. I mean, you don't have to refer back to every revisionist writer to point out the history of the Jews and the church. That's been part of church history since its beginning. So it becomes like, to me, like every time we harken back to 1945, we're doing the exact same thing that like they do in Russia when they celebrate Victory Day, which is, I hate to say this, but reliving controversial periods is periods where you just basically live in self-justification. I just, where we are in America today, frankly, is so far gone. We really need to start focusing on something else other than, a guy who died in 1945. I mean, I hate to say that, but that's the real problem. If people want to say that there's problems with the Jews and there's problems with the illegal Israeli state, you can go right on ahead and say it. But even saying, the Hitler was right. Hitler said that Henry Ford was right, and Henry Ford was right, and his stuff is good. But to me, Hitler is just a Henry Ford stan that died. So I don't have like a big say in the matter. It's like, okay, yeah, he did help liberate Mount Athos. But on the other hand, he also wanted to, destroy Russia. Even though Russia was already self-destroyed because it was a communist state. So, I just don't know how good that would have been. Wow, we got a lot of comments. I'm going to go backward. Cybercrapper, that is not happening here. You can start your own stream for that. Republicans, Protestants, mostly, I think Protestants are waking up. A lot of them are starting to realize dispensationalism has been unhealthy for them. Happy Feast of Mid-Pentecost. Let me see. Carl, can I debate you, Father Joseph? Why do you ask that in the chats? Like, honestly, I feel like you're playing more of a practical joke. If you want to actually come on and debate something, there's a link at the top of the chat. Nothing is stopping you. But it seems like you'd rather just comment in the chat. In the Catholic Church to forbid the Jews from getting into finance, and of course they were right. That was the Universal Church. Many of those councils were held before the Great Schism. Take the Toledan councils, which freed Christian slaves from Jews. This is not new. None of it's new. Let me see here. Cyber. Okay, Sunrise, debate him now. Just everybody talks, but nobody jumps in. So once again, I'm going to remind everybody that, support the channel. We at NFT need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at NFT.net. Various options like PayPal, Cash App, BTC, LTC, or XMR, or on Give, Send, Go. We are currently at a target of $65. Thank you so much for how far we've gone. We're almost there, guys. And I am looking forward to it. Frontima, I wish more people leave comments in the chat. The stream would improve with the amount of topics brought up. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm not talking about not leaving comments in the chat. I read all the comments. I'm talking about saying, let's debate. Like, just do it. Like, click the link. It's not that hard. Denise says, Carl is weird, so it's Frontima. They be trolling. I think not sure. Well, there's one way to prove you're not trolling, guys. Donate to the channel. Yeah. If you donate to the channel, then you're definitely not trolling. And if you donate to the channel, then you're an honored member, no matter what you say. So you see how that works? That's right.
Father, so I saw this channel called Old Calendar Zealot.
Yeah, I believe that's a name worshiper, if I remember correctly. I will not support him. A name worshiper?
A name worshiper? What is that? I'm sorry.
Slaviist. It's like HTM. It's heresy. It's I won't support it.
Oh, I see. Because he was talking about how the Earth is flat and that the church fathers agree that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, that's That's basically, I think that those kinds of channels are actually not only trolling, but they're doing real spiritual damage to the few people that they reach. To be quite honest, they're taking them away from orthodoxy and pulling them into weird niche causes. And I feel like they're doing that because they know that the enemy plucks members from the church by getting them to focus not on Jesus Christ, but on whatever they're talking about. I think it's demonic what some of these people do.
Okay. So okay, because there was, I guess, because they were talking about the firmament and that the church
Right.
fathers were talking about.
And they often misquote, and more importantly, they start getting people more focused on things like flat Earth and other weird, little topics, etc. And you know what they don't get focused on? Prayer, being part of the church, doing things in the church. Their whole fundamental goal is to distract people from the truth, not to actually talk about it.
That's what seems to me about the whole scholastic movement. Was, the Aquinas and these guys, they're just starting to promote human reason, and they're a bunch of smart guys, and they like to talk all this philosophy and let everybody else know how smart they are. A total distraction away from what you were saying, prayer, serving the church, and the Protestants are totally distracted.
Well, we
caught up in all that.
We have to give credit here. From a municipality contributor donated $2. I am not a troll. Let this be known to everyone. That's right, PMC. You are officially not a troll. You are here helping the channel, and we will add your $2 to make it $63 for the target. That's right. So look at that. But for the record, people asking how to join in and debate, literally, it's in your chat box at the top, probably in a different color. It's you just click the link. That's all you have to do. All right, so we're down to $63. $63, folks, and we will be able to let's see. You have to make an account or join your YouTube account. I didn't know that. The other priest talking, Carl, is Father Boniface of the Hermitage of St. Paul in Lakeland, Florida. And so click the link at the top. All you have to do. Very good. Atomic Lead says the scholastics applied a skeptical approach to the first millennium saints because they had to prove Arceism somehow, and the saints taking the saints seriously won't get you to Arceism. That is 100% true. The scholastic method, actually, that is a topic of interest. There are people, even people that I like and are, even have friends who converted to Orthodoxy using some variant of scholastic methods. This is problematic, and I'm going to explain why. It's fine if it gets you to church, you're doing, the right things, so on and so forth. Eventually, you'll learn about the fathers. Eventually, you'll learn about the mindset of the church. It can be done. I personally prefer people learning about the faith from the fathers. They often did use logic, so it's not like they were just illogical fools. But more importantly, by equipping yourself with the mind of the fathers, you it changes you. I studied the fathers at first when I was Roman Catholic, particularly St. Augustine and St. John Chrysostom. And when my conversion happened, I was able to read them with clarity. But I read more fathers and studied more fathers. And what ends up happening ultimately is you go from patristic certainty, knowing the fathers are right because you've read what they said on certain topics, to what I would call patristic certainty, which is even if you haven't read the fathers completely on a given topic, you understand their thinking enough to pretty much know what they say, look it up later, and confirm it. And that second method, as opposed to using scholasticism, etc., is one where you can fundamentally trust the church's authority historically because you know what it's about. Let's see. Michael says, watch out for PSYOPs. Absolutely. Front of a municipality, I'm just going to say PMC. Yes, Michael, psychological operations are rampant. Yes, they are. Please be careful, everyone. Sunrise says, there's a video called A Math Equation for Proving the Papacy. LOL. And this is the problem, is that you can logically get to the papacy, and if you have no historical understanding, you can't see why it would be necessarily wrong. And so what ends up happening is you end up sometimes create, like many World Orthodox have a crypto-papist mentality, which is something we've talked about, but it comes from using that logic, from trying to figure out the necessity of some sort of established authority figure without using the tradition of the church at all. Let me see here. There's sunrise. There's a video. Cybercrime. What is a better drink, Sproke or Pilk? Don't know what those are. Let me see here. Carl says, "Can I be honest? I don't have anything to debate on. I just wanted attention. I'm sorry. It's okay, Carl." PMC says, "I'll be honest. I had Pilk. I find the carbonation, and creaminess for the milk. Okay. I don't know." Sunrise says, "You got to be in communion with the EP chat. Say, Sproke is Sprite and Coke. Pilk is Pepsi and milk." Oh, in that case, I have had Pilk. That's like it tastes like an egg cream. I don't know if you guys are old enough to remember those, but you can look it up. There's recipes for an egg cream. The point is, it's almost functionally equivalent to drinking. If you get a particular vanilla Coke or vanilla Pepsi, and mix that with milk, you'll produce that, especially if you do it with plant milk. So if you have like an almond milk and a Pepsi, vanilla Coke or Pepsi, you're basically making an egg cream. It's pretty close. Atomically said, "Do not be deceived into trying Pilk." Maybe it's plant milk. I don't know if I've tried it with real milk. Maybe that's not a good idea. Carl says, "His father Boniface in Florida." Yes, he is. He's in Central Florida. Do not listen. Pilk is quite, if you use an almond milk, it's perfect. Okay, we've lost Reconquista. He has vanished. Hopefully he comes back. Let me see here. So
I wanted to say something. I sent you a video with this guy from Burkina Faso, Ibrahim Traore, and he gives a speech about the Pope, the new Pope, and basically he's saying, "Okay, Rome, why, if you're going to be the church or whatever, why aren't you addressing the issues of all these social ills that he's going a whole list of?" And to me, it's like, okay, so you want to talk about wokeism in the Roman Catholic Church? Well, you've got a president over there of a country who's saying, "Rome, you have betrayed people by not fulfilling your social gospel." And so now it's like they're being very critical to the point of where it could get pretty angry at the Roman Church for not fulfilling its duty of fulfilling the fantasy of the Chiliastic view of creating heaven on earth, with the Roman Church, creating this utopia, which they're criticizing the church for.
Well,
and I thought,
I can
this is going to be interesting, because it could really backfire on Rome, and it could mean persecution big time.
Interesting. I will put it up. Give me just a second. I'm going to answer Sunrise, and then I'm going to put up that video, actually. Is the GOCK agnostic about the grace in World Orthodoxy? I've ran into two people in that synod that hold that, granted layman, but still. Orthodoxy in general often will sound sometimes agnostic about stuff like that. That's just natural, but I would ask their priests or bishops. Carl might visit Father Boniface within the year. What synod? We're with the autonomous metropolia of North and South America and the British Isles. Reckon Keith said, sorry, I had to get off. And let me get that video. Give me one moment. Give me one moment. Share. Present. Share screen. We're now in the 31st minute of the third hour. And I am sharing a video Father Boniface sent me, and we're going to put that up right now.
To His Holiness Pope Robert Francis, I write to you not from a palace nor from the comforts of foreign embassy, but from the soil of my homeland, the land of Burkina Faso, where dust mingles with the blood of our martyrs, and the echoes of revolution are louder than the hum of foreign drones overhead. I am not writing as a man seeking approval, nor as one entangled in diplomatic pleasantries. I write to you as a son of Africa, bold, bruised, unbowed. You are now the spiritual father to more than 1 billion souls, including millions here in Africa. You inherit not just a church, but a legacy. And in this moment of transition, while white smoke still lingers above Vatican rooftops, I must send this letter across seas and sands, beyond guards and gates, directly to your heart, because history demands it, because truth compels it, because Africa, the wounded and the rising, is watching. Your Holiness, we Africans know the power of the cross. We know the hymns, the prayers, the litanies. We have built churches with calloused hands and defended our faith with our blood. But we also know another truth, one that too many prefer to bury, that the church at times walked beside colonizers, that while missionaries prayed for our souls, soldiers littered our lands, that while your predecessors spoke of heaven, our ancestors were chained on earth. And even now, in this so-called modern age, we feel the chains still not of iron, but of silence, of indifference, of geopolitical games played in holy shadows. So I ask in the name of the mothers who pray on dirt floors and the children who learn catechism with empty stomachs, will your papacy be different? Will you be the Pope who sees Africa not as a periphery, but as the prophetic center? Will you be the Pope who does not only visit slums for photo opportunities, but who dares to speak with rage against the forces that make those slums permanent? You see, Your Holiness, I am a man shaped by war, not wealth. I was not groomed for politics by Western institutions.
All right, I'm going to stop it for a second because, frankly, some people are asking if this was AI, that maybe this speech was just AI. It's possible. I don't, let me see. I'm going to just run through their comments.
Yeah, maybe it's too what's the word? Intelligent, or too for maybe that person to be that eloquent,
Well,
for him to be.
Could also be the translation. The translation might have been. Yeah, I don't know. Well, first off, obviously that's not him speaking. That's a translator. I don't know if it's AI. It's possible that it is. It doesn't mean that the message isn't real. I'd have to do some research on it. And then Michael says the traditional Catholics still think that the Pope and the Church will get restored as Pius X was back. Total delusional. It's absolutely a delusional view, and I think that, frankly, I mean, I hate to say this, Father, but it sounds like he's just asking for money. It's like, okay, you're the Pope, do something. We're so poor, send us money. I mean, that's how I read it. And unfortunately, there are big problems in Africa. Endemic corruption is a real thing there. It's not all, using the terminology of chains. Of course, it's trying to bring in the language of the oppression. To me, considering what's happening in Europe, with so many quote unquote refugees, I mean, a part of me, it just rings hollow for me. Maybe maybe I've become too, what's the word? I'm disillusioned. I don't know.
I was just it just to me opened up a lot of issues, because how far has Rome gotten behind corrupt governments? How far has Rome worked with corrupt governments to pursue agendas?
That's also true. Also valid.
And so, that's what I was looking at, because this guy could say that Rome has worked with Western governments which have put us in chains. How are you going to liberate us? How can we see the light of day in the midst of what history has dealt us? And so, therefore, what are you going to do about it? So, therefore, any of your priests that come to my country, we're going to have our eye on them. And if you don't produce, you're in trouble. Or look what you did in the past. So, therefore, we're gonna, there's potential trouble with you guys because of what you've done. And so, and you know what? It could be AI. It could be. Now, I will say this: that Traore went over to Russia, and when he met with Putin, I just saw this today. He said that I don't want money. I want information and intelligence, education. I want to grow my country intellectually so that it can, what it is, to fish for a man, give him a fish, but teach a man how to fish and he can fish. So, that's kind of the take that they're saying, and this could be propaganda. We'll just have to watch and see. But, so, I mean, let's put it this way. Rome gets criticism for not achieving, let's say, the salvation of the world, the political government, and therefore they get criticized, and duly so. But so the woke idea of Rome being woke is going to fly right in their faces, as it already is anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's very possible that it. I don't know. I have a very wait and see attitude on all of this, only because of the fact that we've seen scenarios like this play out historically, and we've seen it in the third world. We've seen it in Africa. Hundreds of millions of dollars are spent in supposedly building resources. It turns out that these leaders often don't have the interest in developing resources. They just have the interest in personal gain.
True.
It's just Africa is just really corrupt. We got a lot of comments coming in. Cybercrapper says, I think this video is 100% real. John MC says, American accent. This guy's pleading for orthodoxy, but unfortunately, the world does not know about the Orthodox Church. There are true Orthodox missions in Africa. Traffic Church husbands, Michael says, the Traffic Church has been sweetly, the Comfort Church has been cleanly, leaving taken over by the Jews. Okay. Paul says it is AI slot. And Michael says, this is a great, this is a great, this is a great, this is the great falling away. PMC says, look at how the mouth moves and how it doesn't add up to the voice in the video. Also, the video keeps looping if you keep watching it. Okay, fair enough. Karan says, no, I think people live in their little colonies, even if Orthodox live in Africa, most of them aren't true Orthodox. There's quite a few, actually. Believe it or not, there are, I would say it's closer to 60-40 in Africa because of people asking questions. And not having any presuppositions about what's going on. Sunrise asked, does Vladimir Moss have any physical books I can buy, or are they just online? It looks like most of them at this point are just online. Let me see here. It is AI slop. Are you under, Father? We're under the American Metropolitan. Quran says, yes, it could be propaganda, but it's something to think about. That is true. Chris also says, teach a man to fish and he can fish. Yeah, I know. And that's, Quran says, even if it's propaganda, doesn't mean it's untrue. GOCK established the real one in Nigeria. Yeah, they have quite a few people there. They made a movie about it, if you look that up, the Orthodox Christians of Nigeria. Okay, now it looks like my internet's getting worse. So talk to text is all messed up, Michael says. I understand that. Rome was infiltrated a century ago. I understand that. I'm hoping that the connection gets more stable. I have no idea what I'm going to do if it doesn't. Let me see here. Okay, things are going slowly. This is bad. I may have to restart. Okay, so let's close that. Maybe that'll help. Why did GOCM go into communion with Hakna when the name worshiping wasn't the name worshiping obvious by then or no? Yeah, that is an interesting question. I would say that it looked like they kind of tried to do that just to take some of their parishes because they broke communion within a few months. And so yeah, well, Chris, this is incredibly dull. Well, you can always spice it up, pop in. But we are in the 41st minute of the third hour. Monastery Press is a physical copy of Vladimir Ross's Rushing Love. There's a few of his books that were published by other people, other publishing houses. So there's a few things like the Saints of Orthodox England. Also, I don't know.
Yeah, it might be out of print.
Yeah, a lot of them are out of print. So you just have to, see what you can do.
I think that was by design.
Yeah. I think so too, but I have no idea like what were the circumstances behind it. He did try to self-publish through Cafe Press, but it may not have been profitable enough for him. The new Pope is definitely in the Pope Francis comp, Vatican II through and through. Yeah, they all are. And there's no pre-Vatican II popes left or bishops left. Let me see here. Father Joseph, what's your favorite Smith song? And don't say How Soon Is Now. How Soon Is Now is not my favorite Smith song. That would be There's a Light That Never Runs Out. Carl Elton says, is the Metropolitan true Orthodox or World Orthodox? He is true Orthodox. My Metropolitan is true Orthodox, and we wouldn't be talking about it if he wasn't. Let me see here again. We're down $63 to go, guys. Come on. I really could appreciate if we could do it. I don't know. I'm going to keep on begging, but we'll get close. That was the second one. Cybercrapper says that was the second one I was going to tell you not to say. Okay, well, I don't know what to say. I don't know what to do with that. It's like that song. Okay, and Carl says good. Does anyone have Council Florence book by OTP yet? Father Boniface, did you buy that one?
Yeah, I did, and I read it too.
How's the type copy? How is the quality? What's the quality on it?
I think, well, if you want to be in that vein, I think the type is a little bit light. I think they should have used a darker ink for the type. However, the content was just excellent. So
fantastic. That's always good to hear. Carl asked, does Father Boniface have social media?
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, he does.
www.stpaulhermitage.com and then FR Boniface Arms on YouTube.
And you'll find other links there, etc. Sunrise. That's an answer to your question. So we are now in the 45th. Yeah. Okay. Give me one moment. No problem. Sunrise, is piracy a sin? That's a tough question. I mean, you're getting into copyright law. Unfortunately, there is it's hard for me as an American, considering we basically invented the field of inventors, to not feel some sympathy for people who independently create things. On the other hand, some would argue that things like software are not real, are not really objects anyway. So, yeah, I know both arguments. I use Linux. I don't know that I'm personally a fan of the concept of piracy, but sometimes it's impossible to do otherwise, and companies make it intentional. Let me see here. Carl Elton says, do the donations go to the church? I'm being pretty specific as to where the donations are today. They're going towards my water bill, my house's water bill, and the phone bill. And they are going towards helping somebody with something with a personal matter, and that's about $50 of it. Yeah, Father Boniface is putting his socials in. Franima asks, which distro, Father Joseph? I use Zorin, which is basically a respin, a very developed respin of Debian or Ubuntu. Let me see here. Which book sunrise? I've mainly pirated old video games and books out of print. I don't know that copyright can apply to out of print books or old video games. So, yeah, I think that's. I kind of feel bad pirating stuff that is new and available. I mean, I think that it's important to remember that you want to purchase things, but sometimes companies will make that incredibly difficult. Yeah, and let me see. Carl Elton says, I use Fedora too. Okay. I guess I missed Fedora. I'm surprised I didn't put in a transgender pulpit. I'm not even sure what that means. Yeah, and so is it a sin to steal books from the World Orthodox parishes that we're allowed to steal relics from? I'm really not in a comfortable territory when we start talking about stealing from people. I mean, first off, the relics are that just strikes me as something that I would not personally feel comfortable stealing relics. I would feel comfortable guarding relics that are in my possession, but definitely not stealing them. So yeah, that's what I would say there. Glenn says, okay, thanks. Big Sosa comes in big with a $9.99 donation. Thank you so much. Father, can you explain how heresy is supposed to be handled? It's supposed to be fled. You're not supposed to deal with it. It's not unless we're dealing with a war where, like, the Roman Catholics are trying to kill us off or anything, that we go any further than just leaving and going to the true church. So that's what I would say. And thank you again for that donation. That brings us down. We're getting very, very close. We're down to $53. And I'm going to put in another 10 for Big Sosa there. Thank you so much. We are so close, guys. We are down to $53. It's the 49th minute of the third hour. Okay, yeah, stealing is wrong no matter what I think, especially Rosie. I would agree with that, Denise. I am currently working on material aimed at Protestants and especially Presbyterians, of which I was formerly ordained. Okay, that's Father Boniface talking there. Farmer municipality contributor says, can I steal electricity and water from World Orthodox parishes? Obviously not. They have their own accounts with companies. You cannot steal. You should not steal electricity or water from anyone. Let me see here. Carl says, okay, or oh, great. Yeah, I don't know what that means. I might not want to. Cybercrapper says, can you steal food freely offered at their trapeza? I don't think you have to steal it. Just ask. And also their catalytic. No, you cannot steal their catalytic converters. Kulani, blessed feast, good strength. God bless you. Carl says, did we reach the target donations, Father? Not yet. We're 53 down, though, so we're close. We're close. Is the shepherd a heretic? Then he is a wolf, and it would be needful to flee and leap away from him and not be deceived into approaching him, even if he appears to be fun and greatly. That's St. Photius the Great. Father Boniface points out, they'll follow the electric cord right back to your house. Moreover, brethren, settles it pretty good. Thou shalt not steal. Quran says, who is Saint Paisios' father? Peter here brings him up a lot. That's Elder Paisios of Mount Athos. There are issues with him, but he has a pretty good big following. Denise says, how old are you boys? And PMC says, I'm 9. Carl Alton says, donate now, guys, please. Every man needs water. It's urgent. I mean, I feel it's urgent. I feel like if you're kind of just gonna mock it, people aren't gonna take it seriously, and they may not help. Yeah, Sunrise says, go to the True Orthodoxy U site and read the story about Elder Paisios. That is very worthwhile. I agree. But it's I think it's important that so I am, I'm kind of tired, but we'll keep going. Let me see here. Yeah, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to come across as mocking, Father. Just trying to rally the troops, so to say. Well, I appreciate that then. Thanks. And, we'll see. So we're 8 minutes away from going into the 4th hour. Bless you.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Haran says, dang, more money, more problems. Yeah, you're not wrong. It's, I have problems now and I don't have money. I'm begging on the internet. Cybercrapper says, who's the fake NC saint who said the whole thing about you? You'll see when they glorify me or something. I have no idea. That sounds new. I have no idea. Anyway, but let me see here. Let's see. Just hoping and checking. Okay. As always, anyone can jump on the stream. Just click the link at the top of the chat. So, I got that up there. It's there. People often have a lot to say, but they don't want to come on and justify it. Let's see if there's any live YouTubes dealing with religion. Let me see. Let's see here. All right, let's see what we got. I'm gonna put that on. Let me see. Carl Elton is Padre Pio in Orthodoxy. He is definitely Roman Catholic. Any shows with Bishop Enoch planned? That is really up to Bishop Enoch because I understand he's really busy these days. PMC says, I've heard of something has taken place and it isn't stolen anymore. That's also false. No, that's just false. That just means it's stolen twice. Let me just check here. So we're gonna turn on the YouTube and check to see what we find. I clicked on the live. What's this? Some pastor guy. Oh, let me see here. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That guy's arguing with Muslims, so that's of no use. All right, let's see here. Mm-hmm. All right. Then he says, like, oh, BS, Carl, sorry, not sorry. Like you said, you're seeking attention, get mine, even though it's negative. I don't trust anything you say. Forgive me, Father. He says, sowing seeds of division. I mean, everyone can have an opinion. Carl, I would join, but I have social anxiety, and I don't even know what I'd even say. Father, can you speak on the Book of Enoch? Is it canonical? Are the Nephilim real? I would say yes, but no, the book is not canonical. The church has already decided this. Let me see here. Angle Baby, Sunrise. Do you know any good peanut butter cookie recipes that don't need eggs? I actually don't. I would just use an egg substitute and just use a regular peanut butter cookie recipe. Let me see here. So yeah, that's where we're at. So we're hitting on 3 hours complete, and I guess this is it's I will say the topic was I think the topic went as well as it could, but yeah, I think maybe we'll just call it a day here. There's not much else I can do. Okay. Father, you think it's a good time to end the stream? I think so.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I think we're gonna go. All right. Well, we'll be back on Sunday, and thank you I'll just hold on a second. Thank you for everyone who showed up, to our guests, for listeners, Father Boniface, to all those who have had questions and comments. To those who support our mission, support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating to NFTU, nftu.net, and on Give Us and Go. We remember all of you in our prayers. Thank you for all the support to NFTU. Thank you to all of you in the comments. And as always, don't forget, if you haven't already, to like and subscribe. Have a great night. Through the prayers of Holy Fathers, Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us.